Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone outside and in between. It is Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for some GRLCS Platinum Capped action. I'm Vid here, bringing you the stream tonight with the Rex Go Dragon. How you doing, man?
Hello, hello. It's been quite a busy few weeks for me with school ramping up a little bit, but I gotta say, I always look forward to these Tuesdays and watching some plat gameplay. And for our just wonderful league here, this time is going to be the Firelights with PQ on the blue side versus PHOriends. I love their name, by the way.
Yeah, it's an amazing name, and even more amazing, neither of these teams have been streamed yet this split. So this is a first time for everyone watching these guys live on GetRec TV. So
Yeah.
we already see that some of these bands are coming in. And what are your thoughts for this series, Rex?
Thoughts so far? Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting game here since we haven't seen too much of them. PQ actually was an older team for GRLCS, so we know a little bit about them. But they, had to, break apart for a little bit, but they're back now. So maybe new and improved, maybe not. We'll have to see how they're doing. In stats wise, it is going to be a little bit going to be kind of interesting how it goes if we're looking at Firelights. PQ currently undefeated at 3-0, while PHOriends is over at 0-2. So a little interesting, but we'll have to see how it just turns out in the end.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at PQ here as the favorite coming in. No surprise, as you said, that matchup is pretty significantly in favor of them if you just look at the standings. And already you see that how much the draft is going to shape this game. There were four jungle bans already in the first round, and then the Jarvan lock. So that's five junglers off the table. And Ferenz, they just decide to go ahead and pick the Samira Nautilus right out the gate.
Yeah, so they're looking to be very aggressive in this early game. I'm super intrigued why they decided to just they valued how highly the Shamir Nautilus pick. And in turn, it looks like PQ is going to be opting as like, okay, sure, you can have a little bit early game aggression, but if you don't get anything in this early game, I got a Jinx, I got a hyper carry on my back. We hit mid game, we're going to start rolling.
Yeah, and even the early mid game here, like usually Jinx is supposed to be pretty unfavored against a lot of ADCs, but she's so strong right now in the meta that it's going to be very difficult for Ferenz to try and get something to happen if this Nautilus isn't really on point. Meanwhile, the Malphite locking in, and I think that's going to be a top lane pick for PQ, so they're just kind of leaving their support up in the air. I would have to imagine that Ferenz needs to go for a jungler here, but no, they're just going to let the pool get pinched even more with the Victor pick.
Wow, so we're looking. The only lane confirmed so far is going to be the bot, like the ADCs. We still have open for mid for a support pick and open for mid pick for PQ, while Ferenz have their top and jungle still need to be figured out here, which is going to be kind of interesting because that's five junglers off the table, and we're still looking to ban a couple more, while Ferenz is going to have to try to change their game plan for bans a little bit, and you're going to be banning away some supports, but I mean, not all that many supports are really pinching them into a cornering them into a scenario just yet.
Yeah, certainly a good meta ban here, the Tom Kench as well. It just kind of helps keep that Jinx under control a little bit more. Tom Kench has been a pretty prioritized support pick, both in competitive and professional play. I'm not sure how much PQ plays it though. Meanwhile, the Graves in that top lane can certainly mess up a Malphite. So they're going to take that away from Ferenz. And I'm just kind of interested here in the draft how highly the red side here is prioritizing Victor because you're giving yourself away. You're letting the blue side counterpick you, which is something that doesn't normally happen, and you're kind of leaving this jungle which has already been pinched by a significant amount. I mean, the only power pick I would say is left is like Viego, and it's not looking great for you here. Ferenz is gonna either have to take jungle first or just go ahead and counterpick that Malphite, which is certainly a doable thing.
Yeah. So let's see, two more junglers banned away again for PQ, and now Ferenz get their first pick since they are on the red side. They get the first pick on this round two, and it looks like it's gonna be Cho'Gath in the top lane. I actually like the matchup between Cho'Gath in Malphite, Cho'Gath dealing AP damage against an armor top laner. Who would have thought that's a good matchup?
Yeah, and the amount of percent health damage that Cho'Gath does as well. This is going to be a pretty good matchup for him, assuming that he can keep himself topped up with that Devour pat or the just the healing passive. Malphite, I'm not sure what kind of build he'll be going for here in the top lane, but I would expect that he's going to go maybe like the Comet build, pick that corrupting potion, try and poke down Cho'Gath and get him squishy because Jarvan is going to want to roam around here. The Janna, however, locked in the bot lane into a Nautilus.
Janna is interesting, but this is around the time where Janna with Glacial Augment kind of busted. Even if they nerfed it a little bit for Janna and fits a couple interactions, it's still pretty busted how good of a disengage tool that she has. And it looks like Corki's even going to be locked in too. So we're just doubling down. It's like, hey, sure, you can have the mid, you can have the early game, you can have a little bit of mid game, you can get the 2 item spikes. Once we hit three items, 4 items, we're gonna start popping off and start outscaling all of you.
Yeah, and I love this Jarvan. The super aggressive pick here in the early game is going to be able to help some of these flagging lanes. Maybe Corki will have a pretty good time against Victor. This is a standard lane that we like to see. But I think importantly, the Jarvan will be able to put some pressure on that Victor while also being able to help Malphite out. If he goes for that Arcane Comet build against the Cho'Gath, then with any luck, that Cho'Gath will be squishy enough or low health enough that Jarvan can come in and start to do something. This isn't team fight tactics. Cho'Gath can be CC'd in that top lane.
No Colossus buff, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, it is going to be quite the matchup to see. Just overall in the team comp. See, we were talking about like where their strongest points are. We talked a little bit about matchups like Cho'Gath versus Malphite. But what do you think about team comp wise as a whole? Who do you think win this draft phase?
Yeah, team comp overall very interesting because PQ it definitely looks like they're going for something a little more meta focused. They kind of got a little bit of a wild card in that Malphite top lane, but you've got a Jarvan to shore up the early game. You've got a Jinx to pop off late. You've got Corki for extra chip damage. That's going to be super oppressive if they get into a siege kind of comp. And Corki, we've seen how much damage he can do both in GRLCS and in LCS in the pro side. And Corki is just going to be a monster if we get to the later stages of the game. Meanwhile, Firenz, I'm not really sure what they're doing here. They've got that Samira Nautilus, which can get very aggressive early on. They've got Cho'Gath, who can hold his own against this Malphite. But overall, I'm not really seeing what their team does as a unit. I'm just kind of smelling that Samira's going to have to pop off here and Cho'Gath's going to have to get unkillable. I got to put this one on the side of PQ.
Yeah, I will have to say agree a little bit that PQ has a easier to execute comp. I mean, they have very clear points of when they're strong. You have ADC late game. You have APC mid lane. With well, generally APC because Corki just does so much magic damage, but still ADC ish that hits a little bit sooner than a Jinx does. And then you got your front of bats comp. While Florence actually has, I like their comp in the sense of it's we go now, and if it works, we win. If it doesn't, well, we cry and try a different angle. I mean, they have they have the early game potential with the Nautilus, which I'm assuming is either gonna try to do something bot lane, doesn't find anything because of how annoying Janet is, start roaming around the map, and then starts making something happen with that Victor in the mid lane, or pressuring or helping Kane pressure the jungle a little bit against this J4 with an additional CC. Or even maybe he just takes a little bit of a stroll all the way into the top of the lane and get Cho'Gath to be a nice big boy before any ADC can build a Lord Doms. It's going to be an interesting setup for sure, but I don't know. I'll give Firenz having the more fun comp where it's either we all in now or we just never make it in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect description for their comp. Either we all in or we just kind of never get anything done. It feels like a very burger flip comp, and I think consistency is going to be key, not only over the series but also just the course of this game. Because a game one is super impactful for your mental, for your team state, especially when you're coming in as a 0-2 team against a 3-0 team. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to kind of get something rolling, unless, of course, the Forens have iron mental. Um, unless they can't be broken, I think you got to come out swinging here against PQ. You got to show everyone up and show everyone that PQ is a beatable team, even though the score may not suggest it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it will definitely be such an upset if Ferenz is able to get that win out for them. Uh, but we still have the spectator delay to get through now. So how about we start talking a little bit about some of these lane matchups? So you said that Victor and Corky is like sort of like the typical matchup that we see, or like for really both laners would really enjoy. But how about divulging a little bit to why you think so?
Yeah, so Victor Corky is just kind of like the bread and butter matchup of the meta right now. Both of them scale very well, but also both of them can trade poke in the early game. We've seen a lot of mid lane matchups between this Victor Corky or similar sort of things. These two sort of artillery, sort of poke mages, just kind of going at each other, keeping their mana low while just trying to poke each other out, build a little bit of lane pressure. This lane has also been swung really hard by junglers. I think Jarvan will have a much better time against Victor than Kane will against this Corki, because it's kind of a half beaten to death meme, but Kane is really like half a champion until he gets his upgrades. And I'm not sure what the jungler of Firelights is going to be doing in this game as far as Kane blue versus Kane red. But if he's going for red, which I think he should, because it offers his team a little bit more tank, a little bit more CC for these hyper carries in Samira, and then the late game carry of Victor to scale up. That's going to be difficult to get anything done against a Corki, because Corki is a magic. He's a range champion rather, and that'll be getting you blue orbs faster. So I think Jarvan will have a much easier time pushing PQ's advantage in the mid lane. So I'm gonna give this one to the Corki. Then of course late game, if Corki gets ahead, if Corki can hit his power spikes before the Victor can get that shattered Queen's crown.
Crown of
That
the
doesn't
Shattered
sound
Queen.
right. Crown, yeah, there you go. Crown of the Shattered Queen. I had the words all in the wrong order. If Corky can hit his power spikes before Victor can get his crown, it's going to be kind of bad news bears for this Victor.
Yeah, all great points to really point out, and I'm inclined to agree. I mean, like you talked about how PQ just has the easier to execute comp and has clear points on winning. Nice front to back lines, and the power spikes are clear and concise. But well, I have to see. I mean, the Shamir and Nautilus lane it probably is going to be the biggest one, and I feel like actually, it's going to depend on a lot for the Nautilus to try to make some plays around the map to help his team get ahead a little bit more, rather than it's something for the rest of his team to really like. Oh, I can just outplay the other laners. Like, more so it's like, can your support really add that influence to help your jungler to get your jungler ahead, and then your jungler can start doing things too, and now you have two threats just roaming around the map, causing problems for everyone. But for
Yeah,
now,
I do think this. Oh,
yeah. For
the
now, spectator delay has finished up here, so we will be switching on over to uh just making sure that we don't have the spectator bug. It's been a couple weeks. I'm hoping, right? Come on, I know you like that new layout that you had. It looks pretty cool, but please don't break my spectator again, please.
Yeah, if I break spectator again, I'm gonna hang up my casting hat at least until they fix spectator, because I can't stay away for too long. But the small Indiana company cannot do this to me again.
So let's on over to loading screen. Okay. I don't know if we're actually going to make progress this time, because for past 2 weeks I had to get out and then spectate thanks to op.gg. Not sponsored, but just a great thing. And we're
We're
in.
in.
Let's go. We love it. Love to
Let's
see it.
go.
Love to see it.
We are
And yeah,
in the
this
game
is the new
here.
the new spectator layout I was talking about. I like it. It's a little clean.
That's kind of fun. I like it.
Hmm?
I
Reads.
like it.
You want to introduce this blue side first?
Yeah, on the blue side, we got the 3-0 team PQ. We got Papa Cooks in the top lane on the Malphite, Hodge in the jungle on Jarvan the fourth, Anything in the mid lane on Corki, and then we got Fox and Uham in the bot lane on Jinx and Janna, and we have an invade already. Asian Pro going to jump into the middle of the team. He's going very low. Is he going to go down? He will. Papa Cooks flashes away. Daddy Sugar trying to chase, but he won't be able to get it. Papa Cooks living on a sliver of health. It's 2 kills already for PQ, and oh man, both solo laners each getting a kill.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty nice. Corki being the first one to get the kill means that he can go back and grab anything he wants, start stacking that tier so his power spike's hitting even earlier. Okay, that's not going to be fun. While Papa Coates is grabbing himself some boots, and making it so he can dodge Shogav's Rupture a little bit better and position himself. So I think overall I'd say that's a worth trade, especially when you consider that even like the most that PHOriends got out of that was a bunch of orbs for Kayn, and he didn't even get first strike because he got hit by that tornado first.
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate here for PHOriends. I mean, you're trying to go 5v5, or you're just trying to 5-man invade, and it very rarely happens that the blue side ends up on the top side against the invade. So just kind of a bad roll of the dice, but it will come up totally PQ sided. The starts are a little bit slow for both teams, and hopefully we can just get into a very solid, calm laning phase here. However, I do want to point out in the top lane, I was totally wrong. Papa Cooks did not go for that Arcane Comet. He does have Grasp, but he did still start Corrupting Potion, so he's going to make sure to start poking down Vaudouin.
I mean, he's doing a good job of it as just right now. I like the combo of Grass plus for Malphite just because you hit him with the cheese wheel and then you walk up and auto attack. Nice simple combo. Don't need to complicate it anymore. Just like Malphite, don't need to complicate it anymore.
Yeah, in the mid lane, you did point out the tier is going to mean that Anything does hit his power spikes earlier, but for now, that actually doesn't offer anything in the way of combat stats. However, we do have something in the mid lane as Hodge comes in. He's going to go for the flag and drag. He is not going to be able to manage it. Papaya has to flash anyways.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if the flash was necessary. He is down like most of his potions. So there is a possibility that Corki does have enough damage, especially with that first strike available, adding a little bit extra true damage for the... what is it? You get a bonus 10% damage for whatever you do, and then cash out like 70% of that money. But, yeah, that extra damage plus J4 doing quite a bit is going to be giving a respect flash away. Don't necessarily want to give anything you don't have to.
Yeah, I think it's a healthy combination of fear and respect because, you don't want to give up that third kill for your team. 2 was bad enough, but a gank in the top lane. Vaudouin is going to find that knock up. The silence and Papa Cooks just going down. Asian Pro will find himself the first kill for Pho.
Yeah, and really good kill indeed. I mean, that's going to get him some red orbs for getting Rost a little bit sooner. If he chooses to go Rost, it's possible that he is looking to go for a blue Kayn game. He does have the first strike, which I don't think is actually very regular for Kayns, unless you plan on going for that blue, where you get that 10%, the straight up 10% damage boost, and you're usually the one always going to be attacking first when you're playing blue Kayn. Because of how much speed is in that kit, your W gets an extended range. So I think this might be a blue Kayn game, just because, like, hey, I got 2 high-value targets I need to kill. I'm going to make sure I kill them going blue Kayn.
Yeah, blue Kayn, but he does have that Iron Spike whip, so I think it still remains to be seen. Also red smite, so maybe he just took first strike because he wants to duel early, hit those power spikes earlier. It's good to see him get aggressive here because, as I said, Kayn kind of feels like half a champion until he gets that upgrade, and you need to get that upgrade quickly. So Hodge does show in the bot lane. The ward is there in the tri-brush to make sure that he is seen, but Anything will Valkyrie away in the mid lane. Looks like he's going to take his back after Papaya came back with his own tier.
Yeah, even though we gave up those 2 kills early onto the game, it looks like PHOriends is still very much still in it. They're only about 400, 500 gold in the deficit, which, I mean, is paying for the entire tier for Corki, but he's not making too much of leaps and bounds for himself at the moment. He's even getting poked out by Papaya. So we'll have to see if that early game aggression is really going to do much, or if it's really just going to be as like a stopgap from PHOriends really popping off around the mid game.
Yeah, I will reserve judgment for the mid lane until, however, anything completes his Manamune, because that is going to be the huge power spike that Papaya does not get to see. Victor can't really build. I mean, he doesn't build something as cheap and cost-effective as a Manamune, so anything will have the edge in that lane the moment that he gets like 2,500 gold. But Asian Pro here in the top lane, Papa Cook's gonna take a lot of damage. He should just run. What are you doing, man? Ults away. He'll save his life at the cost of an R button.
Pretty nicely done, and it looks like with how many times that Asian Pro is going top lane, I am going to infer that, like, okay, he's going to go red, which is still fine. I mean, Red King is a powerhouse. You're going to use that first strike in order to get you money instead, so you can fund all your sort of costly items that Red King generally wants to get. So I'm a fan of it nonetheless. Red Cane is still going to be good. You just have to. It just makes landing your W's on these ADCs way more important. Ooh.
And a hit is gonna come onto Yuham, and Daddy Sugar flashes in. He's gonna manage to get the kill, get out. Fox can't do anything about it. And I was just gonna comment about how Nautilus has not been showing that much aggression yet, but he was just waiting for the opportune moment there.
Yeah, and we really need to be careful with this bot lane. Over from the side of PHOriends, I at least talked a lot about, or hyping up ZQ about, it's his game in his hands in order to try to tip the scales anywhere. It looks like he's trying to make something happen bot lane first, so then Shamir just snowballs, gets online by herself, and then we can start roaming around, potentially looking for leads somewhere else. But at the meantime, I mean, that one kill is definitely going to be doing wonders, while ZQ has bought the Moby, so he's looking for roams now.
Yeah, I think that first kill is really all Daddy Sugar needed in order to get himself in a good spot here in this lane. Now that he's got the Vamp Scepter, he can play back if Fox and Yuham decide to start pushing up. Of course, you do see a lot of bot pressure like that, but it does look like it will not be an Ocean, will not be a Mountain Soul. I'm not really sure how much PQ get out of prioritizing this. You know, stacking these dragons early, especially when you can get a Samira ahead, as you said. And hopefully Asian Pro with the one kill and starting to upgrade his smite. I think his smite just upgraded, actually. He is going to be a little bit more challenging to deal with here in the jungle. And we do actually see Pho is up by about 800 gold. That kill on Samira paying work, and also a little bit of a CS lead in the top and the bot lane, as we see about 10 in the bot lane, about 15 at the top.
Yeah, and I would attribute a lot of the CS lead to more so the double ganks that we've seen so far for the top lane that Asian Pro is really focusing on. Once again, he is looking to try to get those red cane stacks, so he is looking for a little bit more top lane engagement, where or that's pretty much all you're going to find is those stacks. You're not really going to find a roaming Janna up in top lane, at least just yet. Would probably want to stay nearby Fox at the moment with her Jinx, in order to make sure that, you know, we have the scaling potential. We shouldn't be looking for trying to get a Malphite ahead. We should probably just be stopgapping and looking for ways to just scale naturally.
And I do love how much pressure the Asian Pro is putting on the map by just being there with his lanes. We've seen that Hodge, he has taken the Dragon, he has taken that Rift Herald, so he is putting pressure on the objectives, but now there could be a dive here in the bot lane. ZQM goes in, but no, he's dead. He is dead. Fox getting himself his first kill of the game, as Nautilus goes a little over-aggressive.
Yeah, and that's really, I would say, questionable for that. I mean, you know it's a Janna with Glacial Augment, and that's always a bearer of bad news if you're trying to look for a dive, even if it's well coordinated. Whoever goes in first, whether it be you or the ADC that can get out even a little bit easier, they're going to get locked down under tower very easily. So it's a little questionable about the move as a whole. I do like the ambition that he had. He was like, you know, we get a kill here, then I can really start getting going around the map a little bit more and creating a little bit more pressure for everyone else. while over for PQ, they managed to capitalize on it very well. Dropped a Rift Herald, got a nice kills were for gold on top of the kill that they already got from ZQ. So able to swing out the gold a little bit better, push out the waves, so they made for an easier reset for Fox. Even with this push, it's not going to be as punishing as it could have been.
Yeah, I will say that it is really Asian Pro coming into clutch here, helping these lanes get through the perceived weaknesses that they had that we were talking about in draft. Asian Pro really stepping up here, and you can see the significant CS differences now, 20 to 25 on both the top and the bot lane, and that's where Asian Pro has been. That's where he's been applying pressure. You see that PHO, meanwhile, in the mid lane, he's holding his own, but he hasn't built that lead that his two side laners have, and now Asian Pro on the dragon. Hodge is coming in. ZQ going to get jumped on. Some damage going through. The knock-up coming as well. ZQ, he's going to go back in. Here's Hodge, though, with the kill. It is the Corki coming through with the package. And now Papaya, he's in trouble as well. Anything will get the kill onto there. PQ Fox going to try and find something. He will get it. And it is Papaya going down 3 for just the dragon.
Yeah, it is a semi-important dragon, I would say. Securing the Drake. Oh yeah, I don't think that anything is going to be looking for something right there, but it is a pretty important Drake if you're thinking long term, because if PHOriends get the Mountain Drake, that just means that okay, we get a little couple extra stats. It's not going to really mean anything significant, but it's more so now that PQ doesn't get it, it doesn't make them an impossible feat in order to try to dominate. Now we're looking at an Infernal Rift as well on the map. That means whoever gets this is going to start snowballing in themselves, just have more damage. Both sides have really good damage sources that's going to appreciate the extra 8 numbers. Ooh. A little bit of fighting going on though.
Yeah, and it is going to be jumping on to Yuham. Yuham going very low, and Daddy Sugar, oh, can he get through the shield? Yes, he can. ZQM will find the kill, securing it for his ADC, but ZQM now in trouble because anything is here. It's a lot of damage, but it's not quite enough. Daddy Sugar not gonna die to the Super Mega Death Rocket. He will live with a sliver of health.
Yeah, just barely, but will live nonetheless. So good on you guys for making it out alive. Now, Hodge, you gotta be careful here. Might not be Jungle anymore.
Looking for something. Will he find it? Anything dodges the hook, but now he might turn back around. ZQM just taking little chips of damage.
Yeah. It looks like we have some PQ gang in the chat here saying hello for everyone. But right now, it's looking like a pretty close game between PHOriends. That said, it's close in the sense for like objectives or money-wise, but it's not close if you're thinking about team comp-wise about when they're hitting their power spikes. There is still a little bit something a climb. Whenever you're going against PHOriends, they still have such strong mid-game power that's going to start popping off around 1-2 items. And then around 3 and 4 is when you start seeing more ADCs pop off, because that's generally where they go, unless you're like an Ezreal or... Yeah, no, pretty much Ezreal, right? Lucian kind of pops off at 2 items, but he really strives for that 3. 2 because he gets S's Ruber at 2.
Yeah, and I mean, would I even call Lucian a bot laner anymore? I mean, he spent so much time mid recently in the meta, and he's finally back into that role again. So, yeah, I mean, and the mid is because he does get that 2-item power spike. But speaking of item power spikes, we do have our first mythics coming through. Both junglers have gotten their hands on the Gore Drinkers. Meanwhile, Daddy Sugar has that, the life bow. The life steal guy, Immortal Shield Bow. You can tell how much I build Immortal Shield Bow on my ADCs. But also crucially, Anything has his hands on that Manamune. He's stacking it up, and that is such a cost-efficient item. He's going to be far stronger than Papaya right now in this stage of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Finished boots plus that Manamune means that he's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, especially when that fully upgrades into... I guess Manamune, right now it's a Muramana, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But now Asian Pro finds the knockup. Yuham going very low, and he's just exploded. PHO finds the kill. Daddy Sugar's here. He has the ultimate. He's getting a lot in, but not enough. Anything on a killing spree. Are we going to see FHOriends re-engage the ZQM? Looking for it. He does find the Corki, but he's alone. He takes about half his health. Now here we go. Verdun gets this knockup, and now PHO just taking it down. It is going to be a 2-for-1, but Daddy Sugar's dead. Does that mean that FHOriends can still go for this Rift Herald? There's so much poke on the side of that Corki. Looks like they will still commit for it. They are going to go into the pit. The wards are there, and it does not look like PQ wants to fight.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a very fair assessment. Unfortunately, you did lose your jungler there. You got hit by a couple too many CCs, and that means that we will be losing this Herald. It's not as impactful as the first Herald, but second Herald nonetheless will be pushing half a tower. Like, if you're an outer tower, that's half your HP. If you're an inner tower, that is like most of its HP. So if you can get 2 charges off, it's pretty worth for how much gold it can get you, as well as just map pressure overall. It's going to be interesting to see how does FHOriends able to get this value. We saw PQ earlier used it in the bot lane. They wanted immediate value. They wanted just like, okay, let's not greed out for more of it. Let's just go ahead and take this bot tower down pretty low, and then you finish it off here. It looks like for FHOriends, they're going to be dropping it mid lane. It's like, all right, you get Drake, we get tower. Easy trades.
Yeah, and this is something that it is, as you said, completely off of the back of that Herald. Asian Pro got the Herald, gets the charge off, thankfully. But he walked right back over to red buff, which does mean that he will give up any pressure that he had on the dragon. So PQ does find themselves up 2 dragons to 1. A little bit of gold as well, about 1,000 across the entire team. A lot of that, however, will be concentrated on the Corki, as we do see that his Manamune is finished. He's going for these magic items. ZQM just kind of taking damage, and look at how much Corki does already with just 1.5 items. He's going to go try and find another one. ZQ, he's going to have to try and engage something, and there we go. The ultimate coming out, burning the Valkyrie package.
Will be burning that, but now in the top lane, it looks like we're trying to get a little spicy here against a 2v1.
Yeah, and Cho'Gath is all locked up. He finds the knockup here and will flash away. Teleport's coming in. That is PHO. Yuham is here to provide some support, but it's a 3v3, and no one wants to commit to anything. Jinx slowly rotating up there. And we haven't really seen that much attention put on this Jinx, which is kind of surprising. She's down still CS against Daddy Sugar, and hasn't really gotten time or support energy dedicated getting this Jinx ahead. Asian Pro, he's been hanging out. He gets the knockup. Papa Cooks will be forced to ult away. Good wait there by the Kayn.
Yeah, good wait indeed, since he did have to burn the unstoppable force from Papa Cooks. That means he lost pretty much anything that kept him alive under the tower and preventing any dives. So that means he's going to have to push on back. That means the turret is going to be transferring over for FHOriends. And the chapter scoreline is getting pretty much tied up here. And gold-wise as well, we're only down about 1,000. So if you want to think about it, it's a blasting wand. And then a couple extra change.
Flash is committed in the disengage by ZQM, and now it does look like PQ, they're going to try and strike back here on the mid tower. They're going to get it pretty low, but now the hook comes in, and ZQM has just killed himself on the Corki. PQ Hodge running away. Daddy Sugar goes for the ult. He's taken some damage, however. That Corki just hitting far too hard for Samira to walk in there on her own. They saved the turret, but at the cost of their support.
Yeah, they did lose out ZQ, unfortunately, and it's pretty low, so another push is going to be giving it over to them nonetheless. But they will have it for the meantime for a little bit extra pressure in order to make sure the lane state in the mid lane is going to be staying relatively the same. Once you lose out that tower, you start shifting leads a little bit more and make it a little bit harder for your team to try to go for towers. So they really want to try to hold on to this just a little bit longer at least.
And especially think about the intangibles that you give up when you drop a tower like that, especially when you're playing against something like a Malphite. so much, not only like the pressure of mid lane, but also the jungle kind of unlocks because now you can walk across that mid lane without much trouble, and PQ can suddenly move into Fuzz jungle, and when you've got a Malphite hanging over the wall with his ultimate, that can easily turn an entire fight around if you get a hit onto that Samira or onto that Victor. So something that Fun needs to keep in mind as the game pushes further and further and these towers get more and more fragile.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree about that. I mean, all great. I mean, it's just what like we're really nailing down. Is like keeping this mid lane tower is very important. We are That's why we see the ADCs have moved mid lane as well. Generally because that's also the lane that gets the minions fastest. So technically they can get CS a little bit faster than everyone else, and then they also still have room to rotate since they aren't restricted by waiting for the wave to come and then rotating around, or rotating and then they straight up just miss whatever they could be going for. So having the ACs there is gonna be helpful.
Yeah, we do see some good heads-up play here by Pha. They are going to move into this dragon. They don't want to let PQ just get another free dragon that would put them at soul point. And they are going to let Daddy Sugar come down and farm this bot wave. Uh, a lot of the farm on PQ has been going to Anything. Well, I talked about how Fox didn't really have that much CS comparatively. It is pretty much all in the Corki. Papaya, on the other hand, is doing his part, being a good wave clearing victor. He is going to be able to join it, but the teleport coming in a little bit early is going to mean that Victor has to walk away. This is a 4v5. Papa Cooks, is he going to engage? He has the ultimate available. Just duking it out over the dragon. Papa Cooks goes in, just hits the Cho'Gath. He's going to take some damage, gets knocked up. He doesn't have a way to disengage. Asian Pro getting damage off, and Anything will be forced to Valkyrie out. ZQM use the depth charge. There will be no re-engage here, and that's so much damage. Hodge will find the kill here onto the support. Hodge going to go down in his own way. Daddy Sugar looking for some fight. Papa Cook's going down. Papaya, however, he will die as well. It's Asian Pro on the back line, and he can't get anything done. Cho'Gath going to steal away that dragon. Pha is on the run. It's a 3-2 fight overall, but I think Anything and Fox are still looking for blood. Daddy Sugar finds a turret. Sneaky. But I think he does lose his life for that. Anything almost goes down, but no sweat. PQ walks away with the fight.
Yeah, and that will be pushing their lead just barely in favor for themselves. 2k gold lead, that's a BF sword plus just an extra couple bits of change as well. I guess agility cloak plus like 2 pots, if you want to think about it that way. A little bit of a lead if you're talking in a previous season for League of Legends. A whole BF sword against your laner is huge. But in any case, seeing that distributed across a whole team, not that amazing, but we are entering around a point where we're reaching around 2 items. Everyone's trying to build their second item, while Anything, thanks to his immaculate CSing, is looking for his third one as well. And is going to be quite the thing to see, especially since he is playing Corki. He gets a little online on 2, a little online at 3. Since it is going to be like set, he gets a burst at 2 and a burst at 3, so it's like equal-ish burst once we see it. But in any case here,
he doesn't spike as hard as other quote unquote ADCs or marksmen. Just being one of these more castery type ones, he has a little bit more of a standard or a smoother power curve. But we'll put that to the test, because this Luden's Echo is going to be very, very strong as well. He also has the package, so this is a ton of damage, and the Baron is on the table ripe for the taking. If Anything wants to engage this, he does need to be kind of careful in what he does, because this Cho'Gath can rupture him up, lock him down, but there's just so much threat here coming from the Corki. They will go ahead and start it. Asian Pro going to go in and try and just suss something out. They do know that this is happening. They are going to be able to at least get everyone a little bit scared. Anything forced to take the honey fruit plant. Will we see an engage coming in from Pha? Are they going to be able to force people away at all?
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. I don't think a fight's going to be engaging on. Maybe onto the victor, but he's able to get out soon enough. But I do want to point out, it's pretty interesting when you think about it. No, if you looked at a previous season for GRLCS, no one really pressured an objective like they did this season. Maybe that's a little bit influenced thanks to watching some of the pro play, where you saw a lot of pro teams are just, for some reason, just standing at an objective and just like, all right, let's try it, let's force it. You force the objective and force the other team to respond to you. Either go ahead and try to start a fight and fight for that Baron, or you get a free Baron. It's pretty interesting to see how that's affected even our levels of play here on GRLCS. But on this note, you see that with that wave management, it just causes you to lose out on a tower. So that's mid lane tower gone, and a lot of pressure with it.
Yeah, now Verdun is coming in for something. Is he going to be able to get the feast off? He will. Papa Cooks does go down. Verdun will die as well, but ZQM coming up. Hodge running, flashes the wall, but Yuham is here looking for Papa Yad. He misses the flag and drag. Will he be able to find something onto Hodge? No, he won't. That's the Monsoon coming through. It's a 2-for-1, and with the mid laner of Fa down, this could go poorly here for our red team.
Yeah, if you're a PQ fan, you're pretty excited about that play. A 2-for-1 trade is going to be pretty huge, and you can start peeling away some of these outer towers and looking for just a lot more pressure around these lanes. Mid lane is still up, unfortunately. You did send anything, try to maybe prevent this push from going any sourer. But with ZQ in the area, it does mean that anything will have to back off. You gotta remember, you're an ADC and you opted in for Luden's Echo or Luden's Tempest, instead of trying to go for something such as the Crown of the Shattered Queen, which would negate a lot of the burst damage that comes with PHOriends team.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I am really impressed here by PHOriends' ability to play around the map. I don't think they've really lost anything since the early game. They haven't lost anything in like a solid trade. They've been doing so well at getting back towers where they're losing them, and they're getting more valuable towers in some cases. But ZQM, he's in trouble. He has to flash away. The ultimate comes in from Jarvan, and that's the Nautilus already taken down. It's now a 5v4 as Papa Cooks goes in, finds some damage. That's a lot of damage. Daddy Sugar, Papa Yad dead. Verdun trying to chase down Yuham, but I don't think he can get it done. It's a wipe. It is just Asian Pro walking away with it, with his life, and it is going to come up PQ.
Yeah, and this is a pretty rough situation to try to get yourself out of if you're a PHOriends fan. If you're a PQ fan, you're gonna love where we are. We're a scaling comp and we're ahead now that we're hitting around the mid to late game. We're at 2 items, building our 3rd. We're looking real good at it. And now they're looking to try to go for this Baron as well. Asian Pro is still alive. He has a smite available. He might be looking for a steal, but he does get spotted out by that ward. So he has to be a little bit careful. They know that he's here, and they're going to be trying to stop him at the very least. Oh.
Yeah, he's spotted and he's blind here. There's no ward in the pit. Asian Pro has to make something huge happen. He jumps in, he steals it! Asian Pro with the kill on Baron Nashor, saving it for his team. He will die, but do what you must. He's already won.
That is true. He managed to get the Baron still, and that's if we could do a little bit of a mind theater reenactment of that replay. We saw that Asian Pro drops the control ward, sees the Baron is down at 1,000 health, flashes Qs, so he gets that part off on top of his smites. And that does enough damage where, since the J4 isn't necessarily layering any ability with his smite, anticipating anything like that, that fast sequence allowed him to take that Baron. And now we're seeing that PHOriends is able to get a little bit of a stopgap. They are still at the disadvantage that they have a fast comp going against a scaling comp, and it's getting to the point where fast comps go a little slower. But maybe they can try to use this, try to find some footing, try to push an advantage, and really play off some mistakes. Because right now, PQ is looking very good with their ADC and mid laner, still not dropping a single death yet.
Yeah, as crazy as that steal was, I'm not sure how much that will do here for Fa. I mean, as you said, they've hit that stopgap. They get to stall a little bit, but Yeah, I mean, you're trying to stall against a scaling team, and these guys will just outscale you. They can continue taking these waves, and you've got to really try and push for something if you're Pho, but you can't push too hard, or else you will get punished for it. We saw Papa Cooks with the amazing two-man ult in that last dragon fight, and he's just lurking around in the jungle. ZQM, on the other hand, he is also lurking, but he is lurking too loudly. He's immediately dead, and now that's another two-man ultimate, and there goes Victor immediately. Asian Pro gonna die this time, and Daddy Sugar can't get it done. It's Vaduen leaving as PQ just runs it down. They've got this fight.
You know, what's pretty interesting about this game? I feel like, okay, ZQ, you're doing an amazing job, and you got some pretty good early hooks. But I just wonder how this game would go if we had a Renata as the support instead. Seeing Daddy Sugar is able to get some pretty good ultis off. He just can't live long enough to get the full thing through and get some resets in order to start really popping off. Which is really unfortunate, but if we had the Renata, it doesn't stop you from using your ulti if you have the Renata W on you to bail out. And you can still lifesteal your way through it too, so it would be interesting to see if what would happen if we had the Renata instead. But at this moment, it's just PHOriends feeling the downsides, the burdens, the drawbacks of a faster early game comp. And they're really just starting to show their age with now that we're getting into a little later parts of the game.
Yeah, this comp definitely does not age well, and of course, the Nautilus, he's kind of fishing for hooks here this entire later stages of the game, because he needs to get something done. He is the primary engage for his team at this point, which is never a great place to be in. If Nautilus is your primary engage, then you're really struggling to find something here, find something to happen here. And he's doing that thing that Nautiluses do where they've got such powerful vision control. He's got 90 vision score here at this stage of the game, which is awesome. But he can't get anything done because PQ is just moving as a unit. They're putting three people together and they're able to just cut through a Nautilus with basically no stats. He's got that even shroud, and I don't think that's even the right that's not the right item here. Your Samira won't need that much more damage. What you need as the Nautilus, as the primary engage, you need some survivability. You actually need some tank stats. And now Asian Pro might be caught out, but Hodge, he's walked into something as well. Daddy Sugar is running away from Papa Cooks, and now ZQM, he's knocked up. They're going for you, Ham. He interrupts the Monsoon. That's huge, but he's already dead. Anything is legendary. Viden is running down you, Ham, and he will find the kill onto him as well. Daddy Sugar going for something, but a double kill for the Corky. He's just too strong. Papa Ya goes golden. Anything running from Asian Pro, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get away from it. That's a shutdown coming through for Papa Ya, but he is just trying to fancy feed his way. He'll get killed by the flag, the drag. It's a 2 for 5. Anything lives, and PQ coming up big. They'll take game 1.
Yeah, it looks like they will be taking game 1 here. Respawn timers are a little bit long. We do have CQ coming up soon, but I don't think he's able to stop this 3-man crusade coming down from from PQ. So that is going to be game 1. This late game comp definitely worked in wonders in favor for PQ. Surviving through the little bit that early game rough patch, but in any case here it looks like this is going to be victory for PQ in this game 1.
Surviving and thriving here. Let's see if Pho can bring it back in the next 2 games, or if PQ will just be moving on to a quick 2-0. Take a quick break and be right back. All right, the stream was...
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with game two's pick and ban between Firelights, PQ. Last game saw PQ take a pretty convincing win, carried on the back of a massive Corki. Let's see if game two holds anything different for our boys on the blue side.
Yeah, then we are going to be switching sides here for Ends on the blue with PQ over on the red. And we're going to be seeing, yep, the Corki going to be banned away already in this first round. It was a menace in first game. He went, like, what, 8-0 at the end of the game there. So don't want to be seeing that again. If you know that you want to go for, like, something Victor mid lane, you can't let someone that scales better than you play.
Yeah, do you remember what Firelights banned in game one in this slot?
Yeah, I mean, I still have the game, so I can just open up here. Firenze actually banned Xin Zhao, Fiora, and Senna for their first round, so it looks like they're not going to be banning Xin Zhao this time around.
I
At least in
do
the
think
first
that
round.
actually still works in the favor of Firenze because the Xinjiao, he is strong, but that Jarvan didn't actually do a ton in game one. They're still very similar style champions, and yeah, Jarvan actually going to be banned by PQ. So obviously they're trying to keep that off the table of Firenze. We saw how good our our jungler here on the Firenze side was in game one with that cane in his hands. I couldn't
Mhm.
imagine what he does with an actually aggressive early game champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like for Renz is going to be opting in for the Zeri lock in. So don't think this is the first. No, this is not the first time we've seen Zeri on stream. But nonetheless, it's still going to be interesting. I've been having some fun just like playing with whatever interesting things she can do. Did you know if you ult a Zeri, with Renata ulti, she will only like anything that involves her actual auto attack will make her actually auto attack instead of Q auto attack. So it makes champions like Renata and Rammus as well as Galio just kind of strong against her, where you shut her down all her damage, not necessarily just some of her damage, but completely all of it.
Yeah, for anyone who is not aware, with Zeri being quite a new champion, the Q is basically her actual auto attack. It's where all of her scaling is. It's where all of her on hit effects proc off of. The auto is just something that you kind of weave in while spamming the Q and giving yourself carpal tunnel. We will see PQ lock themselves in the Jinx yet again, but Firenze completely switching it up this time. They're gonna grab Olaf and Yumi.
Interesting combo. I like. So the Yumi with Zeri bot lane is really telling me that it's like, okay, first game we went fast. This time we're gonna go slow then fast. We're gonna ramp up. That's what we're doing. We're not looking to go fast in the early game. We're looking to go fast mid to late game. We're gonna because Zeri, although thematically she does seem like a champion that would be like an early aggressive champion. She's fast. She has a lot of movement speed. She has a lot of ways to keep up with you, but she actually doesn't have a lot of the damage until we start getting into mid game where we start seeing a lot more team fights, and that's really where she shines with that Runaan's Hurricane alongside of the ult to make those lightning bolts. That's where she really starts packing some damage, and alongside of that, whenever you start team fighting, that's going to be around your 2 to 3 item power spikes, where Zeri really thrives because she's not a typical 3 item ADC either, where she starts popping off. It's really like or one. She does nice. It's a very steady curve. 1 is nice, 2 is nice, 3 is nice, 4 is nice, and then we just keep going up and up and up from there.
Yeah, and on the side of PQ, they're kind of flipping it back on their head. I mean, they had the Jinx last game, but Jinx really doesn't define how the lane goes for the Jinx lane. The support is really where all of that power is, and we saw Janna game one. Janna was really good disengage, making sure that the Nautilus couldn't get too aggressive on it. This time, it's on its head. Leona is the support here. Leona will want to dive in, will want to get on top of that Zeri, and it's really going to come down to whether Yuham can like actually hit E's and ultimates on such a slippery Zeri, especially when you've got that pocket Yumi. There's not even a support to target in the lane. You've got to make sure that you're hitting Zeri on top of Zeri's own move speed buffs and Yumi's zoomies.
Yeah, so this is quite a difficult thing for PQ. For him specifically needs to try to bring his A game on landing some of these Zenith Blades and Solar Flares. Well, now we're also going to be looking at Ari and Shen going to be locked in this for this round 2. Ari's another good champion, has some hard CC, so if you really hate Yumi, hard CC is the way to go. Pick the Ari, going to be great. And nonetheless, it's going to be pretty good damage, especially with, I believe her rework is out now, so
Her rework is live, yes.
yeah, so with that, it is going to be pretty interesting. Pretty slippery character, still does quite a bit of damage, and it's not as detrimental if you don't land your E's anymore. It's more so it's like, oh, E's great, it amplifies your damage, but it doesn't even amplify your damage anymore, does it? They just move that amplification all the way over to your other abilities, so they just do more damage anyways.
Yep. Well, while we were talking about the bot lane, a lot of interesting stuff happened in the rest of the draft. We are going to see the Trundle picked up for the top lane to counter the Shen, and the Rise to go against the Ahri. So we have our team comps here. They're pretty significantly different on the side of PHOriends than they were in game 1. PQ looks actually not too dissimilar. You've got some engage with the Leona, even though it's a little less than, like the entire unstoppable force. I think the big difference is that without the Corki, Ahri is we're gonna get to see the new Ahri here in the mid lane.
Yeah. So it's going to be quite interesting to see. And then Twitch chat is going to be helping us out a little bit here and telling us that in-lane Zeri doesn't have insane mobility, which I agree. A lot of her mobility does come from like her being able to get shields, right? Whenever she gets a shield from either her stealing a shield or getting a shield from an outside source. That makes it so she gets additional movement speed. Alongside of that, her ulti, and then her... I don't think her E gives her any movement speed, does it? It only gives her those piercing auto attacks.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're right, although I don't know enough about Zeri to dispute it.
Yeah, so if you're in chat, you know a lot more Zeri, you're Zeri Pro, or even just good enough where you actually played her in game, just tell me if I'm wrong about any of this. But yeah, I do agree. Maybe in lane mobility area is not going to be popping off as much. So, but still, I would imagine once it does hit around the mid game where she is going to be moving a lot more, that's where it's going to really matter if Yuham can really land these Zenith Blade Solar Flares, or if anything can hit some of these charms, or maybe we just see the Trundle land a pillar, and now you're just extra slowed.
Yeah, interrupting the Zeri with the pillar will be huge if PQ can pull it off, if Papa Cooks can get his get his pillar off. There is a lot of peel here. I mean, you've got like Yumi just kind of pocketing Zeri for a lot of it, but that Yumi can also jump right on top of the Olaf instead. There's a lot to be said about a guy who can't be CC'd running at 500 miles an hour at the enemy team while you've got Yumi with the book just final chaptering onto them. It strikes fear into the heart of the enemy team, assuming that the Olaf is not just a glorified cannon minion. And I think that's going to be the big challenge here for Asian Pro. We saw how aggressive and powerful he was in the early game as Kayn, how much pressure he could put on the map. But we also saw that he wasn't able to keep that consistent. He wasn't able to just kind of pull it off for the rest of the game. He fell off pretty hard. And if Olaf does anything, he falls off pretty hard.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite the game to see how that's really going to be turning out. I think you're right with the Olaf. That his biggest challenge is actually trying to be, keeping up the consistency for being useful. Olaf has definitely fallen out of favor because we've really shifted away from the idea of, oh, I just need a power farm, we get strong. You can still power farm, you just won't be as strong as you used to be able to do, since Olaf was the king of power farming. You had to stay at the right threshold so you have enough damage or enough tap speed so you can get a really great clear speed. But it's going to be really interesting to see if Asian Pro can find that sort of consistency in order to try to make Olaf go against someone who's a little bit more meta, which is the Xin Zhao, who has good clear speed, but more importantly, he has great ganks. So it's going to be interesting to see.
That is one thing that we really need to look at because the Xin Zhao ganks, it's something that he wasn't really doing much as Jarvan in the early game last game, but also Xin Zhao lends himself so much more to ganking. Jarvan does have pretty good consistent CC, but Xin Zhao has damage on top of a lot of that, so he won't just need to kind of rotate his pressure around and secure objectives for his team. I will be more interested to see him actually trying to go in on these lanes, especially if you can hit Zeri with a Zenith Blade and Xin Zhao is there, then you can layer all of the CC on top of him. And Zeri doesn't have enough, doesn't have enough tank, doesn't have enough healing to survive, a level 3 Xin Zhao damage and Leona CC. Shen as well, he has the Shadow Dash, but overall he's not actually that, he can't get away from Xin Zhao that easily when you layer it on the Trundle Pillar. It'll be interesting to see what Hodge does here with the Xin Zhao compared to how much more Asian Pro was able to affect his lanes in the early game.
All right, and we've been kind of dancing around the elephant in the room, but let's talk about how the Trundle was picked into a Shen. It's pretty interesting. I mean, Trundle, super auto attack focused champion, going against a ninja that likes being punched in the face sometimes. Uh, what do you think? Do you have any insights about why pick the Trundle into a Shen instead of, like, I don't know, someone that isn't as auto attack focused as a Trundle is?
Yeah, so I think it was one big decision that led to PQ picking Trundle specifically into Shen. Trundle can actually interrupt Shen's pillar. It doesn't matter if the auto attack, if the auto attack fight loses for Trundle, especially at the early levels when Shen actually has a bunch of front loaded damage. None of that matters. What matters is once you get to level 6, Shen cannot pillar when Trundle knows where he is, or Shen can't ult when Trundle knows where he is because of Pillar. Trundle will be so strong at stopping Shen from pocketing onto that Zeri because you've got a lot of Protect the Zeri here. You've got Rise with a fair amount of tankiness and self peel, so you don't actually need to jump on him that much. What you want to do is you want to keep the Zeri alive. You want to make sure that if she gets jumped on, that she's got to stand united on top of her, and Shen can peel after that. The Trundle is there specifically to stop that.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, yeah, you're right. I didn't even really think about how the Shen's stand united just can get so easily interrupted by the Trundle pillar, but it made sense. But we do need to consider that actually some Shen mains actually consider ult in plain sight just so they can get interrupted because they just wanted to give a shield. Sometimes your laners just needed a shield, but you don't want to fully commit and lose your wave state. So maybe Vo can grasp that a little bit and maybe use that to his advantage. He's like, oh, I know he's going to pillar me every time because that's what he picked for. He wants to pillar me whenever I hit my stand united button, and I just want to give us. And sometimes I just want to give a little bunts over for Zeri in order to make sure that it's like, oh, you'll win this fight and I don't have to overcommit.
Yeah, I
We
think
can use that.
Yeah, Trundle is trying to keep Shen in lane. Shen now has to pivot his game plan to assume that he's going to stay in lane. I think this is now going to be like a Hullbreaker Titanic Shen rather than a Shen who is more focused on peeling for his team. But we are looking like we're getting into the loading screen here. And it does look like, okay, so interestingly, we do have, well, not so interestingly, we do have cleanse Zeri is something that we want to make sure that if you're on the side of PHOriends, you do want to make sure that Daddy Sugar stays alive. We are into game here between PHOriends and PQ. Can PHOriends battle back? We'll have to see in this game. On the blue side, we've got Voduen in the top lane on Shen, Asian Pro in the jungle on Olaf, Papa Yalea in the mid lane on Rise, Daddy Sugar in the bot lane on Zeri, and his support, the cat ZQM82.
While over on our red side, which currently has a game up against them, it's going to be PQ. We got PQ Papa Cooks in the top lane, pin the Trundle. PQ Hajay? Hey, it's like Haiti. I really want to say Haiti, but there's a J in there, and it's really throwing me off. But playing the Xin Zhao in the jungle, anything in the mid lane, playing the Ari, and then for the bot lane to round out our comp, we got a nice PQ Fox and PQ Yuhan playing the Jinx and Leona combo. So a little bit of aggressive. We're seeing a 5-stack, similar to last game, but this time we got awards. Both side has a ward in that bush, so at least one knows it's like, okay, they're here. They're looking for something. We're not falling for it again, especially because we don't even have the early game comp anymore. We can't. We're not gonna fall for it.
Yeah, there is no CC on the side of Firelights for level 1, so they had the Nautilus game 1. They're not even going to try it for game 2. Meanwhile, PQ, they actually do give up a little bit of vision here, and now Papa Cook is going to walk into Asian Pro and Vidwen. He will flash immediately. Good respect there, just getting back to lane. This will be a red buff for Olaf, and we'll have to see what happens to both sides of the map here. Will they just flip it and split it?
Yeah, and that was a great flash there. You had to respect it. There's two people there, and I'm not walking all the way to tower long enough. Might as well just flash the wall. Just cut my losses and get out of there. Worst case scenario, they burn 2 flashes and get first blood. So, and that's not even very likely either, considering now I'm just way closer to my tower too. So, I think that was a good move, and from both sides really. Trying to get a little counter, get something out of it.
Okay, yeah. I was worried here because on the bot side, we saw Hajj come into the bot lane or the bot side jungle and try and take the red. The wards are out there, but Asian Pro did immediately rotate down there, so he will be able to keep his red alive, walk that Jin Zhao away, so he might actually end up being a camp up at the end of all of this.
Yeah, we will see how that really turns out, but for now, going to be pretty interesting to see. The lot of laning states is going to be pretty, I don't want to say it, but boring in the early game. I mean, we have a Yuumi bot lane, and with Zeri in conjunction with that, but Yuham is looking for stuff.
Yeah, Daddy Sugar, immediate respect cleanse. So that cleanse will be down for a pretty significant chunk of time. If Yuham gets another Zenith Blade, it will be pretty difficult for Daddy Sugar to keep himself away. And that's just the power of a level 2 Leona.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta respect that level 2 whenever they hit it. But, I mean, if you want to look for bright sides, using that cleanse now instead of, like, just taking the damage means that whenever Yuham does hit level 6, and you don't get hit by another Zenith Blade for a big trade, you're going to be pretty relatively even whenever you have the cleanse back up.
Ooh, good dodge there by Papaya, stepping up out of the way of the charm, making sure that anything's flash is in vain. It's actually 2 flashes for nothing as this Rise absolutely killing it. And here comes Asian Pro. He's running in. He's got Hodge low, and that's first blood for the Olaf.
Yeah, really great job there. One from Papaya, just immaculate outplay with the side steps. Doing a good job dodging their abilities and not panicking. Didn't burn a single summoner spell there either. And in turn got 2, and then Asian Pro just capitalizing on it. It's like, hey, they don't have flash and they're over here. It's like, oh, cool, easy. I walk over, throw an axe, get a kill, or flashback onto him, pick up the second axe so I can get him to slow again, and then we pick up a kill, pretty easy and unpunished really. So advantage will be going over slightly over Furfa, but is in the early game. I mean, we're playing for late game, so who cares about early game? So from both sides, really, they're playing for late game. So like, who cares about this early game?
Yeah, it's early game at this point is like, okay, yeah, you've got 1 kill. That's an 800 gold lead. I really don't care about it. I'm more concerned about making sure that someone has objectives. Making sure that someone continues to put in pushes, but look at how strong Asian Pro is. I just noticed he's a kill up. He's got 4 camp lead, and now he's diving on Papa Cooks. But Dwin is tanking, and Asian Pro will get his 2nd kill of the game here under the tower.
And that was great juggling for tower aggro right there. And if either one of them took 1 more tower shot, maybe the Shen could take 1 more, but doesn't want to risk it. Asian Pro guaranteed takes 1 more, he dies there. Really great juggling, didn't let go too soon, which is the important part. Didn't let go of the aggro too soon, nor too late. And able to get out a pretty successful gank and really start pushing that lead, making the Olaf not a canyon minion, but actually a champion that doesn't rely on power farming, but actually just start running down champions.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to be level 6 very soon. Asian Pro going to look very strong here. As he gets to level 6, he'll be able to just kind of Olaf it down and run it straight at the enemy team. He doesn't care about the Ari charm. He doesn't care about the Leona CC. This will be looking really good for him. However, we do have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, Papa Cooks is still a Trundle. He still does have the pillar, and this pillar is going to be a huge disruption tool for PQ as we get into the later stages of the game.
That is going to be a disruptor. Ooh, maybe a little fight. A nice cutoff.
And Hodge on the run. He is rooted. He's going to jump back in, but Papaya's going to find himself his first kill of the game. Fox is out of mana, and Daddy Sugar is gonna push the envelope. Yuham can't really do anything. He's just going to run. So now 3 kills up is Pho on PQ.
Let me seeing how it goes here. We don't necessarily have anything to really push this tower super effectively. With Agent Pro being down here, he doesn't have the Rift Herald. It hasn't even spawned yet. It's only been 7 minutes into the game so far. So, not going to be looking for too big an advantage, but I don't know if they saw Agent Pro in that bush. They are pinging it, so maybe they would have a good intuition. It's like, that Zeri was a little aggressive for not a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and I don't think... I mean, Agent Pro does have his ultimate, so this is going to be huge if they step up too far. But I think they know, because Papa Cooks is getting kind of aggressive here onto Vidwen. And there we go, the back coming through from Agent Pro. Daddy Sugar is just trying to get pot shots off on the turret here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to get a couple pot shots. Not really going to be seeing too much, which is really unfortunate. You would think this Leona lane would be able to capitalize a little bit more. PQ Fonts did hit level 6 before Daddy Sugar, which is pretty important because if you don't hit that level 6, Daddy Sugar doesn't have access to the ultimate, where a lot of the teamfight prowess or even just the 2v2 prowess is really going to be shining in here. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Zeri really needs, like, if she's going to fight in this 2v2, it is really important that she does have that lightning crash. Fox, he can deal without it, without his super mega death rocket, because that's really just a finisher. But Zeri gets so much use out of it in these extended trades, so I don't think Daddy Sugar really wants to try anything. And considering that he is the guy that's actually walking in this lane, it's pretty important that he wants to be the one to try something.
Yeah. But looks like Cleanse is back up for Daddy Sugar as well, as around the time that Yuhim was able to get his ulti as well. So that means they really can't go for an easy engage anymore. They know that Cleanse should be back up now. At least they should know, at the very least. The Cleanse is back up. So if you're looking for an engage, you're only going to be looking for a stopgap at the moment. Or just kind of preventing their little barrier to have, the little safety net of a Cleanse, before you can really look for an engage.
Yeah, and the engage window has kind of closed a little bit, as Daddy Sugar and ZQM are both level 6. They lost the level 6 early because Yuham and Fox were the only 2 in the lane, whereas Asian Pro was sitting in the bush soaking XP. But they can still try and fight, or at least, as you said, burn that cleanse, get some, get some power in the lane, and really, yeah, as you said, burn that safety net, make sure that you can actually start fighting this. But do they really need to? Because Fox is ahead by about 15 CS.
That's true. Fox is doing a pretty good job at CSing in this game. Last game wasn't the best display, but it was also against a Nautilus and Shamir, and you really just don't want to feed kills to them. So you can imagine the respect that you had to give for that. But now, in this case, PQ, Fox, and Daddy Sugar are pretty much just 2 ADCs that like free farming a little bit. Daddy Sugar in a little bit disadvantage because it's a little harder, or at least not in ways that you really desire to try to farm. It makes it a little bit weirder to try to play around for your CSing. But in any case, we are looking at this dragon coming up here. PQ already on the advances for it, but we'll have to see how will this end up.
They do have an Olaf. Firelights is sitting on the backside. Oh, Asian Pro is already in the pit, so Yuham does need to engage if he wants to get in there. Daddy Sugar going to flash away immediately using the cleanse. There we go. Hodge going low. Hodge going down. Fox going to go low as well. That's 2 kills for the Olaf. Will he get a third? No, he's just going to die instead, but that is going to be ZQM moving back. The root coming in onto Yuham. They're moving on. He's so low. He gets the kill. Papa Ya coming into the fight. It's a 3-for-1. An Asian Pro. Definitely a professional at this game because he just ran them down with no recourse.
Yeah, doing the classic Olaf thing and just really stat checking an entire team. It was like, I think I have better. I think my stats are a little bit better than your guys combined. So let me just run at you and test it. And he got a double kill, almost a triple kill there, off of those guys. And had the good rotates from his team on top of that, made it so that Dragon was easy to, or not necessarily easy, but a good way for them to get off of it. And they're even looking to try to push back onto it, but Asian Pro is looking for something.
Yeah, Hodge is going to have to run away. Fox just tossing the traps out, going to be respectful. And now PHOriends does have the advantage on this one. They're in the pit. Asian Pro has some damage. He does have the smite, but Hodge does have the upgraded smite. He is not going to be able to get it. That is Hodge losing it to Asian Pro, and now Hodge losing his life as Daddy Sugar finds his first kill of the game. Vidwen running from Papa Cooks, but Papa Cooks follows him back under the turret. The taunt coming through. Papa Cooks one more. Can he get the kill? No, Vidwen under the tower finds the solo bolo.
Ooh, Volduin able to pick that kill. Really well played there, considering how even that lane state is. A kill is going to be very much appreciated for to win and try to make this lane a lot more easier for himself, and really not necessarily need any sort of pressure for Asian Pro to really come up there. And that's great, because now Asian Pro can look for this bot lane once again, maybe a mid lane as well, since he has that go button, and really just continue being a menace.
Yeah, now we are at about 13 minutes into this game, a minute before the tower plating falls. And this is finally where at first we were like, okay, you know, it's a kill. It's 2 kills, whatever. Like, that'll swing back. We're late game teams on both sides. But Asian Pro is so strong now. He's been getting little advantages for his team all across the map, large advantages for himself. And now his team is sitting at a 3K gold lead. Everyone is up on kills on their opponents.
Yeah. Everyone is doing a pretty good job. They're looking, trying to maybe turn it back, though.
Daddy Sugar jumps away. There's the ultimate coming in, and now the ult's not going to be enough. Daddy Sugar just dying quickly. Papa Ya coming to the tower, but he's a little too late. A good kill here for Fox.
Yeah, luckily Papa Ya was able to push out his wave before he left, so that means he is not going to be missing out on any additional CS. Anything might try something, but we are looking for a cross-map benefits here. We're going to be having Asian Pro drop that Rift Herald in the top lane, means the first tower as well as full plates will go down over for Volduin, as well as Asian Pro, so they're going to be sharing a little bit of that money, but in any case, it is going to be a lot of money still in the favor for PHOriends. A solid 4K gold lead.
Yeah, 3.5, 4K gold lead here, and I was sweating a bit because it was literally the last second that charge went through, getting the 2 tower plates. Asian Pro definitely playing on a knife's edge here, and he will smite away that big raptor just to add insult to injury to anything. He's 40 CS ahead of his opposing jungler, and this is not like, you know, some B tier jungler. This is a Xin Zhao.
Yeah. Who has pretty good wave clear, but ooh.
Ooh. And here we go, the engage coming through. Yuham, he's left out to dry as Anything dies, and a beautiful save. I was at a total loss for words. I forgot that I was a play-by-play caster. The beautiful layer of CC from PQ, followed by the even more beautiful re-engage and save by the Stand United into Realm Warp. Those globals making a big difference.
Absolutely making a difference here, and it really makes you think, it's like, man, maybe I should build one of the shield breaking items such as Shadow Flame or the, what's it called, Serpent's Fang, one of those. But now Fonts is on the run because Asian Pro's here, and he has a 2-level lead against you. It's quite scary.
Yeah, I never like it when the jungler is multiple levels ahead of me, but I do like it when 4 members of my team are collapsing on said fed jungler. Asian Pro, he is not long for the world. Big shutdown going over to the Xin Zhao, and Jinx will find herself a second kill of the game. Now I think Fox is feeling himself a little bit more.
Yeah, after doing some really good kiting, making sure he doesn't get too close. This is an Olaf. He is very terrifying if you get underneath his axe. So able to try to make sure that he doesn't get in a pretty bad scenario. And Fox looking for even more advantages here with Yuham.
Yeah, now Daddy Sugar in trouble. There's the Zenith Blade coming through, the stun, the auto. Hodge with his second kill now. Man, you got to give the Jinx some of those, but that is still a great move for PQ. They're getting some advantages back in their bot lane.
Yeah, we are going to be taking this bot lane tower, which is pretty important because we have Dragon spawning up here in about 20 more seconds. Ideally, you would get a back off around 50 seconds, but, you know, we had more pressing issues. We had a whole tower to take. Because of that...
Yeah, an Asian Pro.
Ooh, go ahead.
He's so strong. He's so scary. Hodge with the fancy feet. Now he's just going to Crescent Blade away. Hodge slowed, however. Anything coming forward. Vidwen. Yeah, Hodge is dead. That's just an Olaf stat checking you super hard. Yuham is here. Anything you need to keep dashing, ducking, diving, dipping, and dodging away. As Papaya has the cat now. It is the advantage here for PQ, or for PHO rather. They will have a pretty uncontested second Drake.
And that's something you probably should have just honestly given up here. It was a little greedy. It didn't like really seem that greedy. It was like, oh, you know, you get bot tower, we now go for Drake. But you gotta remember respawn timers as well as with the dragon spawning up here in about 30 seconds. If you are really looking for a fight, you have to get around the back before the 50-second timer, so then you can get back before the Drake spawns and get ready to set yourself up for a fight. If you don't do that, then you just have money burning a hole in your pocket and not using any of the stats that you could be using against Asian Pro, who's really just stat checking people right now, looking for his second item, and just continuing to be a menace.
Yeah, and Papa Cooks, however, is the menace for the side of PQ. He's got himself that Hole Breaker, that uber busted item that everyone has been complaining about, both in regular organized play and in the professional leagues. He is 0-2, but I mean, from the way that he was going at Vidwen, it did not look like it. He has so much power in just the ability to shove these waves in. He's got so much armor, so many bonus stats from not being with any of his teammates. But now he's just going to head it down bot lane, and the Rift Herald is coming up in about 20 seconds. So PQ could look to prioritize this as Papa Cook looks to just shove the wave into the tower in bot.
Yeah, and looking for a Rift Herald is going to be a pretty important thing. Being able to grab the Rift Herald, even though it's going to be the second one and it's post 14 minutes, not as important as that one. The second Herald is still going to be good in the matter of fact that you're able to do so much tower damage. And if you can get a second charge off, 100% worth it. But it's really a matter of fact if you can get that good charge off initially.
There's the collapse. Asian Pro is alone. He's unstoppable, though. He's running away, and now here comes Father running it through. Yuham going low. Gonna go down in a second. Hodge as well will die. Papaya gets a double kill here, and Daddy Sugar in trouble, but not enough trouble. Fox will get himself killed, as it's 3 kills here for PHO. Rift Herald and Papa Cooks even now losing this fight, as Vidwen's grievous wounds are just a little bit too much for the Trundle.
Yeah, previous wounds are a little bit too much here, and I mean, we kind of just saw it. Zeri's Power Smite, not necessarily add an item, but when we can start team fighting, that's the biggest part. Zeri was able to just pop her ulti. Didn't, I think, only hit one person, because you need to hit one person in order to actually get the benefits of your ulti. You need to hit one person at the very least. But then you get supercharged auto attacks. You start... Oh, that's my Siri. Sorry about that. I'm just going to throw that over there. But yeah, you're able to get supercharged auto attacks. You're able to start piercing, shooting out the extra lightning, and just start doing what Silver likes to do, but not necessarily in the same way, and same restrictions in a sense as well. A lot more mobile run and gun, as Riot like to put what Zeri does.
I mean, they added a Valorant champ to League of Legends, so if she's not running and gunning, then I think they did something wrong on the design side. However, it does look like Zeri is pulling off that power fantasy now. Poppy Alea and Asian Pro were able to get so much attention put on themselves and just let this Zeri fight against Fox. Even in the 1v2, he was able to pull out a kill. And now, looks like he is going for that second item. Hydra does have the mythic completed. And as you saw, he just beat down Fox in a one-on-one. So Daddy Sugar certainly at a strong power spike here, or at least, you know, more than a one-item Jinx.
Yeah. We will have to see how this really translates into the little later parts of the game here. Rifthold is summoned bot lane, which is a little questionable, but I think it's just more matter of fact, if I don't want to be bot lane, you can take it with you. And we'll probably get a charge off, which I think it actually is going to get a charge off with no one like nearby at the moment. But fun fact, by the way, Zeri's voice actor is actually the same voice actor for the Valorant agent Neon.
Yeah, she and they're both. Well, I mean, they're both. She is Filipino, so that was kind of something that they designed in tandem, which is really nice. But the Baron is started up here, and PQ can go for it, but they're immediately going to get taunted up, and there goes Hodge. He has to flash out. Unstoppable is the Olaf. He's going low, but he's going to get kept alive here by the Stand United. PQ Uham trying to get out. He has to flash away. Here goes the Realm Warp. It's interrupted. That's a Papaya shutdown. And now Daddy Sugar, he's trying to do what he can, trying to run, trying to gun, but he gets taken out by the Jinx Rockets. Asian Pro, he's charmed. He's killed now by the Jinx. No, Jinx, can you get the damage? Anything finds the damage. ZQM now with the double kill, and it is a 4-for-1. Vidwen walking away, limping away barely, as PHOriends just whiffs that fight completely.
And that is going to be a pretty solid team fight in favor of PQ. They were able to get quite a bit out of it. Now they're looking to try to go for the dragon. It was a 1-for-4 trade, and it was really. I just realized this is a game. This is a fight between who can AOE better, Jinx with rockets or Zeri with lightning, with the lightning crash. But this Jinx also didn't opt in for a Renance. But hey, you still get a lot of attack speed from Rapid Cannon, and you get to stay a lot safer than the Zeri needs or Zeri can. So in all, that was a pretty good team fight, and looks like we're going to be going for a pause. Looks like Uham might be having a little bit of issues, unfortunately. Nothing we can do there, but we can take a little bit of time to talk about how that fight really went.
Yeah, that's what you said. It was the battle of AoE, Daddy Sugar versus Fox, and we saw how much damage the Asian Pro was able to get in early. He forced Hodge out of the fight immediately, and Uham was just kind of taking PQ, and the entire team was just backing off, trying to disengage it frantically. Then Daddy Sugar just kind of took a little bit too much damage. He took a little bit too much of that AoE. Fox was able to take him down, and that's where the Jinx resets come in. You know, Jinx is, I would say, the worst team fighting champion before their ultimates come through.
Yeah.
Is Spectate frozen?
Oh, no. Okay, so there's a spectator bug. If there's a pause that happens, they don't do the countdown. So because of that, they make up for that time a little bit later.
They just completely, yeah. But here goes Uham. Can he go in? Can he find the steal? He does! That's the second steal this series. Uham is going, or Hodge does manage to get the steal off. Fox will not be caught by the final chapter. And that is, I think, a little bit of revenge for last game.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the Baron buff over for PQ, but the difference is the gold leads are very close together this time. We're both late game champion or late game team counts. We got the Rise and the Zeri versus the Jinx with the less scaly as Rise, but still equally as good for utility. Anything playing the Ahri. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this late game goes, or if we can really capitalize on this Baron buff, or is it just going to be another stopgap? It's like, hey, let us scale for a little bit more. I want to get my third item Jinx online, or my fourth item Jinx, and then really start running away with the game.
Yeah, and I think this is a more impactful steal than last game because it already felt like it was kind of lost when Asian Pro was able to steal away. But this really does feel like they're giving PQ time to scale. We saw that, as you said, Fox got the rapid fire cannon out of respect rather than the Rune's Hurricane. He will be doing less damage currently, but he'll be able to stay alive for longer. And Asian Pro is scaling off. He's got those 2 items as an Olaf, and you're not really that much useful after that. It's 25 minutes. And now Papa Cooks, he gets to put this to the test. He's taunted up, and yeah, that's enough to get him down. Asian Pro with the kill.
Yeah, even if a Olaf falls off, if I can just free fire onto your tank, it still works out with just wonders. If you are Asian Pro, which I mean he was able to get the kill, and now we're going to continue this push bot lane, which means that's one person doesn't have a Baron buff now, and 2, you gotta pull your pressure back that you had with this previously 4-man or 3-lane Baron buff. Now you got to pull back a little bit so you can play a little bit more defensively and not as spread thin.
Yeah, so basically, kind of a nothing Baron buff here for PQ. It's just a stalling Baron buff. They do get some waves, they do get a little more farm into the Jinx, and I would like to see them continue to funnel this Jinx. She will be what's kind of winning them these team fights. Anything can go for charm picks, but that's not going to win a fight. What is going to win a fight is Jinx resets.
Yeah, being able to get the... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does look like Fox is going to finally start taking other people's CS. That's something that I love seeing in competitive play, just letting the ADC actually take all of the camps, all of the waves, especially when you've got a strong early game ADC that continues having utility, like this Xin Zhao. He doesn't really need farm to continue being that useful. He can just kind of take the occasional camp, soak up XP, and his ultimate's going to do a lot of the work for him,
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of stats you could get off of just using Xin Zhao's ulti as well, so it's not like the most important thing, especially since arm or resistance stats scale off the more you get them. You might as well just have a full popped ulti and have something like a Death Stance to also mitigate damage, or delay the damage in a sense. So in any case, it's going to be pretty interesting how we will go here. 40 more seconds for the Baron buff, or not Baron, but Dragon's going to be spawning up here. We're already tied up for Dragons, so this will really put the pressure on forcing a Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and we do not have a teleport here for Papa Cooks yet. PQ will have to stall just a little bit if they want to make sure that the Trundle can get in. Here we go, the taunt up. Papa Cooks has not used the ult. Now he has. The Steadfast Presence is down. Vidwen taking so much damage, and we see that this Hullbreaker now getting so much stronger. Papaya has to ult up to get him. To get himself up there, and now Vidwen is at significantly reduced health. 2 members on the wrong side of the map, and this is going to be a free PQ Dragon, assuming Papaya assuming Papaya and Vidwen don't get their teleports off. There we go. That's the ultimate coming through from Vidwen. The jump forward, and they're on top of Fox. Not quite though. The steal comes through as PQ loses the dragon, and they're being chased away. Hodge taking a lot of damage. Vidwen going low, but he's not down yet. He still has a lot of utility. Fox, he's got the Olaf on him. That's going to be enough. Asian Pro finds the kill. He's now chasing down Hodge. And it is just doomed for PQ here. There's nothing they can do except run and watch their teammates fall.
And it's looking unfortunate for that, since you were a man up until Vidwen was able to get his ult off. He still actually has his TP as well, but now duking it out against Papa Cooks. Swinging it a little bit back and forth, but more importantly, we're at this bot lane. We're taking an inhibitor, and we're looking to maybe even potentially end the game here. We still have like 10 more seconds before anyone really important comes up here, and here it comes.
Anything going to go low, going to go down, and now Fox, it's him against the world. He's got Yuham on his side, but it is a 4v2. Papa Cooks hasn't gotten back. He's actually teleporting back. The stun coming down. Daddy Sugar, is he going to go down? That's a lot of damage. It's going to be enough. Yuham with the kill, but Fox, he stepped up a little too far. He's got the Olaf on him. It's a killing spree. Papa Cooks, he's going to burn as well. A double kill for the Olaf, and it looks like the PHOriends are going to come back. They bring it back in game 2. They take down PQ, and in a standout game 2, they will bring this to a tied series.
Yeah, it looks like this will be going over as a tie. Congratulations to PHOriends. You will be tying up this series and making us go over to game 3, where we are going to be seeing maybe some changes from PQ's side of things. I thought, we were doing pretty good until we realized it's like, okay, we really need to step up some things. The Jinx was left alone a lot of the time, unfortunately, and Olaf just ran a train on her. Did free auto attacks, managed to do so much damage for free without being necessarily punished. Even without his ulti, he just walked up onto that Jinx that previous fight, and didn't have anyone to help because everyone else was helping Yuham in order to try to live a little bit.
Yep, it is going to go to game 3 here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back. We're here for game 3 of PQ versus the PHOriends. In game 1, PQ absolutely rolled it over, and in PHOriends returned the favor in game 2. Now we're here for the final game of our best of 3 in week 6 of the GRLCS season 17. And we're already well into draft. We got some bans coming on both sides, each team banning the menace of their game's loss.
Which, I mean, is all very fair. After seeing such a performance coming out from the Asian Pro, it's all around a great jungler. You can now see why they're doing 5-man bans or 5 champion bans against Asian Pro. Now they're going to be targeting a little bit more, and you're like, all right, the Olaf was a little bit more insane. We're going to stop that one. While over on the far inside, they're like, okay, no Malphite. We don't want you guys to have easy, good engage, and no Corki because we don't want you to skill better than us.
And it is going to be the Zeri Yumi locked in. We did see that PHOriends did pretty well there in the bot lane. They were able to keep themselves not only alive, but also thrive against that Jinx Leona, which we assumed was going to be a lot more of a hassle. However, already double lock here. The Senna in the bot lane, and I'm assuming that's got to be a Trundle top again.
Yeah, I got to assume so as well. It could be like very slim chance fasting Senna with Trundle farming. If you're like, okay, you know what, you want a scaling lane, let's go with a scaling lane. It's going to be Senna as our scaler in quotes, but Trundle also going to be farming, and then we'll just like take another strong top laner as well, and just like, you know what, screw it, we're just going to run at you instead. But the Graves is also going to be locked in here for Rens. I'm assuming that's going to be jungle. Haven't seen him in other lanes recently, but I would just assume as a jungler, it's pretty strong. It does similar notes of what Kayn and Olaf wants to do, where you're pretty aggressive around the mid game, where you build a couple items. But we'll have to see.
And I think that's the nice thing about Graves. It really is a flex pick, not only to jungle and top, as you were saying, but it could even be a situational mid counter pick. Ferenz does have that option up their sleeve, and they're also treating that Senna as a counter pick since they're getting rid of the Jinx that that was played in both games 1 and 2, and they definitely think that this is a support Senna with the Caitlyn hover here. Uh, we're gonna have to see if they actually ban that, or if they decide to diversify their options a little bit more.
Yeah, I would assume it's going to be support Senna just because the last time Senna was ADC was like at a couple patches ago where they made her chance to get a soul like way higher, like a whole, I don't even know the actual percentages, but they nerfed the support souls count from like 23% to like 10, like 9, and then they buffed the ADC one where it's like a pretty decent chance actually, so you scale it really nicely. And they're like, wait, hold on, that was a mistake. Let's pull it back. And instead give support like 10% instead of 9%, so it's a little bit better than before. Before all the nerfs did happen too. And then ADC, I'm pretty sure is just like 100% worse. So I'm imagining that it's going to be support Senna with someone else. Could be a fasting Senna, but we'll have to see. It won't be a Tom Kench funnel at least, because we did ban away. There is a bug between Senna and Tom Kench at the moment where if you, what was it, Black Mist, or what was Senna's E at the
Yeah,
very least? Yeah.
yeah, if you missed with Senna and then Devour as Tom Kench, you both go invisible, which is illegal. This is illegal gameplay, so that interaction is banned. So they can't pick a Tom Kench here, but they do pick a Volibear, and that will probably be going into the jungle. Or no, that will not be going into the jungle. Is that a Trundle support?
This is this sounds like a fasting Senna game.
This sounds like a fasting Senna. You love to see it with the Oriana too. This is a bunch of beefy butterballs and their Oriana and Senna.
You know what? Something interesting. With Zeri's build, you can build double armor penetration items because you can build Black Lever that procs 100% whenever you land 1Q. Which is interesting, but you can also just build an LDR to do with tons more damage against these tanks. And as someone who can kite very well, it could be a misplay honestly from PQ thinking it's like, yeah, let's build some tanky boys. Zeri doesn't do damage. Let's just ignore her and just run in with our comp. Well, in any case, here we'll
Yeah,
see.
I'm very interested at this because there's a lot of interesting things going on here. Like Ferenz, they've got that Graves jungle, like you said. They've got LeBlanc, which is going to do a lot of burst damage. It's going to make Senna and Oriana very afraid. But PQ, on the other hand, they've got this very strange composition. They've got two very early game focused champions. They've got Volibear and they've got Jarvan. Then they've got this scaling option in the fasting Senna. And I'm not sure how that's going to go because if LeBlanc gets online, then Senna has to fear for her life. She can't just free fire the way that a fasting Senna needs to in order to carry her team. And then at the same time, her front line stops really being able to zone for her very well, and Wukong is going to start running right through this team, jumping through and just getting the Cyclone off, which is going to make PQ's life pretty difficult if Ferenz manages to get any sort of lead, really.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting to see. But in any case, on the bright side for PQ, you do have a little bit of a basketball comp. You got J4 to setting up the hoop, Ariana to pull them all in, and then Valleybear going in for the slam dunk. That would be really cool to see. Oh, I hope I do. We got the alley oop comp right there. Unfortunately, no more dunks. We don't have as many dunks as we would like on this team. But hey, you got the 3-man alley oop, and maybe Senna's just throwing a nice shield for everyone while doing damage. And Trundle, well,
Yeah,
he's gonna throw a pillar in the middle of all of that for some reason.
yeah, you've got two dunks.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the net in the middle, and then Senna's just kind of Kobeing over the top.
Yeah,
I think and then Trundle's Trundle.
Trundle is playing. He's playing point guard. That's what he's doing. He's making sure that if they're or I don't know. He's playing for the rebounds. Anyone that's like outside the net, he's going to grab them. That's what he's doing.
That's true, and he can certainly rebound with that pillar. So this is a Trundle support. So definitely Trundle support. We're not doing any of that funky Volibear nonsense. I don't know how a lot of these lane matchups go because I haven't seen a Volibear versus Wukong matchup in forever. I haven't seen a Trundle support in longer.
Yeah, it is going to be quite interesting. And then we see Plen in the chat saying there's still no Alistar. So unfortunately, he is going to be predicting that Ferenz is going to be taking this. And I mean, to be fair, I feel like Alistar would actually be really nice in this comp. Fits a lot more into the come on and slam comp rather than Trundle does. But I mean, you still get pretty good. I mean, Trundle's still there for pretty good damage. Maybe their whole idea is like, okay, Zeri can kite 2 of us, but can she kite 3 of us? You know?
I think that I have to say I think the mentality is a little bit more. I don't want to make Ham hate his life by making him CS as Alistar.
What do you mean? Alistar is a great CSer once you take AD runes.
Once you take AD and once you ult off of cooldown because you get AD during that.
Yeah. You revert a couple seasons and then you add in some AD quintessences. Trust me, CSing great.
You got to get that 1% crit rune.
Oh yeah, you
Gotta
never
make
know.
sure that you win the trade.
Yeah, you never know. You could be CSing under tower and you know that you miss a minion, but you hit it anyways because it's like, hey, I got 1% crit. I got 0.1% crit. Yeah, like what if I crit? The Tryndamere mentality is like, don't go in level 1, but like, what if I crit?
So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what the team comps are. Like how do these team comps work? Because the Zeri Yumi on the side of Ferenz, like that makes sense. That's parsing in my mind. The Wukong also makes sense there, just like helping zone for the Zeri, let her free fire, let her just shred through these big balls of health and armor. But like, what do Graves LeBlanc do in this other than make Senna's life hell?
I think that's actually the whole point, honestly. Like, you have to super good engage from Wukong. We have these beefcakes, barriers, just stopping from any assassins trying to get their ass in there. So Wukong's just gonna cyclone them up, not like literally lift up the barriers, open the floodgates while LeBlanc is just gonna be dashing straight for PQ Fox and looking to try to assassinate as fast as possible, or even on anything. Just assassinate as fast as possible, get out of there, and then let Zeri deal with the aftermath of that. Maybe wait for cooldowns, and then do it again, perhaps, while Wukong is still in the midst of the things. Graves is probably there, honestly, for the early game. is my mentality. Is like, okay, we need early game in this comp. If we're running Zeri Yumi again, we're not going to have anything bot lane. We need to have some sort of pressure. We need something that exert pressure around the map that provides not only just like gank pressure, but like actual kill pressure in itself. Graves can fill that role pretty well. Especially played by Asian Pro, because honestly, he's been jungling like a madman this series. Uh, so I would believe that his ganks are going to be quite potent. Nevertheless, so I think he's here for the early game, while LeBlanc is here for around the early and mid game, and then for the late game idea of okay, I kill one, I get out, I kill another, I get out. While Wukong is just there because we need really good engage, and we banned a Malphite, so pseudo Malphite.
Because we need to return to Monkey.
True.
If we do not return to Monkey, how do we have any hope of winning?
Truly, truly. But we will have to see. Spectator Light is almost done here, so we can start looking at how things will actually square up against these two teams. And it's still going to be quite a circus, I would say, at the very least. Because PQ comp is still very weird, and we saw PHOriends comp was super weird in the first one, where they were playing the go button, but now PQ was like, hey, I can do one better and get weirder. We'll just have to see. Will this work out against PHOriends, who's honestly also a kind of weird comp?
Yeah, I mean neither is exactly normal. Neither of these I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's just a normal team comp. So I like all bets are off now. It's game 3. We've basically wiped the slates clean. Both teams are kind of tilted by their loss. Both teams are heartened by their win, and it really all comes down to this one. Can the PHOriends get themselves their first win of the split? Can they deliver PQ their first loss? We'll have to find out here. For all the marbles on the blue side, we've got PQ Papa Cooks in the top lane on Dumpy himself, the Volibear. We got PQ Hajj in the jungle on Jarvan the Fourth. We've got PQ Anything in the mid lane on Orianna, and in the bot lane we have the fasting Senna with the PQ Fox and PQ Uham on Senna and Trundle.
While over on our PHOriends, on the red side, we have Voduen playing that Wukong in the top lane. Jungle, we got ourselves Graves, played by Asian Pro. Mid lane, nothing changed. It's still Papa Yali, but this time, Papa Yalea, playing the LeBlanc. And then for bot lane, we're rounding it out with a classic for this series at the very least. It's going to be Zeri and Yumi running it back once again by Daddy Sugar and ZQ.
And I think everyone learned their lesson from games 1 and 2. We're not going to do any of this funky invades, this funky flipping the map. We're not going to be trying to steal away red buffs from each other. We're not going to be trying to 5-man it. Just going to hang out and everyone can breathe.
No one lets to have fun anymore. But it is going to be the smarter decision in order to that. Even actually looking for a late invade, which is pretty interesting because I don't believe PQ has a ward there, so they don't actually know it's happening. And we even see that Voduen also drops a ward in a little bit late, so they can tell, they can do a little bit of mind visioning, mind theater. It's like, okay, they're not going to vertical jungle this game. So we are going to be camp ahead for Asian Pro this early game.
Well, they may have actually called it out because there was a PQ ward in the Tri-Brush there. So they did see Daddy Sugar and ZQM coming back. It's yet to be seen whether Hodge decides to go for the red buff on the PHOriends side of the jungle. But we do know that Asian Pro is coming around. He's going to pincer them at level 2. This is a level 2 gank. He's coming in. Ghost is on. PQ Uham getting some damage off. Is it going to be enough to save his life? There we go. First blood for the Zeri.
All right, we got to... I guess this is a little bit of a message for need to respect a little bit more. Or at least maybe try to play out the scenarios like, why did Zeri and Yumi come through the Tri-Bush? It looks like it is going to be all the camps gone, and I don't think PQ actually know that all his camps were taken. He is on his Raptors. He didn't try to do any vertical jungling, so that's like Asian Pro is actually immensely in the lead at the moment. He's up 2 camps, And on top of that, he is also going to be able to grab that first blood bot lane for his ADC, and just make things a lot easier for himself.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to imagine that like Asian Pro walks in there, drive-bys, blows Yuham away, and then looks at Fox and just the rest of PQ and just, I am always here. He has been such a presence in this series, and he is able to just come by and get that first blood, putting his bot lane ahead. And already, you know, we were talking about how Fox needs to scale up super hard. Daddy Sugar also scales super hard, but he's not going to be the only carry of this game. Papayalea taking some damage, but he again forces Hodge Splash rather than using anything of his own.
Yeah, and because of that, it is going to be quite a interesting early game that's shaping up to be with Asian Pro just solidly in a good lead at for themselves. Uh, yeah, it is turning out quite well, and I just once again I really want to commemorate for that early game. Just good communications all around for Rens, but now we'll chill out a little bit more now we're in laning phase and try to see what's going to be going on for the, I guess mid game is the biggest part we're really looking for until late, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's going to be enough crazy team fights, big moments, and, well, Badwen going to take a lot of damage. And ZQM in trouble. He is not attached to anyone. He's taken some damage, but PQ Yuham cannot quite get in there without taking shots. Daddy Sugar going very low, however, despite being ahead by a bit of CS and ahead by a full kill, he's not exactly the healthiest right now.
Not the healthiest indeed. If he unattaches again in range of Yuham, it is going to spell disaster for himself that he'll just get pillared, he gets slowed, and he can't attach to someone. That means it'll probably be just another kill for them. While Fox and Yuham is going to be like, alright, we got a good aggression. We got some pretty good aggression. Let's go ahead back, grab our stuff, and just be even stronger when we get back in the lane. We just have the innate lane advantage because we got a little bit of a cheaty recall off.
Yeah, the Sheen is picked up here for Yuham, so he will be able to actually trade a lot better. Senna doesn't get that much because she's just Senna, but now Papa Cooks, Vaduen going back and forth. There's so much health being traded on both sides, but Vaduen will walk away a little bit worse for the wear. He's still got Corrupting Potion stacks, but he's 25 CS down, and he already used his teleport. Now Daddy Sugar taking some damage, but he is not going to get chained up by the Black Mists yet. Gotta watch out, though.
Got to watch out. Ooh, a little bit of an all-in coming from Papa Yuli, but nothing too aggressive. That both these mid laners actually took TP, which is really telling us, like, alright, we know we're not really going to get too much of a fight off. We are going to be just aiming for a little bit more of later. Oh.
Oh, that's a lot of damage onto Yuham as Papayalea gets himself a kill. That's the sombrero, however, coming through for the... Oh, 2 kills now. Asian Pro, you are a beast. It's a 2-for-1. They will give over the dragon to PQ, but still, that's a great trade.
Great trade.
No, you don't have to give over the dragon. The jungler's dead. What am I talking about? No, watch out, Papayalea.
No junglers at all are going to be alive to take this Heads Tech Drake, which, funny enough, it looks like spectators having a hard time really visualizing that Heads Tech Drake if you're looking over the objective timers. But in any case, it is going to be a pretty good trade for PHOriends. I mean, you get 2-for-1 out of that. I for sure thought Asian Pro was dead, so that but him able to pick up another kill in the middle of that is going to be spelling wonders for his team, while it is looking a little bit rougher, I have to say, for PQ. It is early game. We are looking forward to a little bit more mid game because we have these bruisers get online a bit more and LeBlanc starts to get online, as well as mid team fighting starts becoming a thing, and Daddy Sugar playing the Zeri loves to be in a team fight. But we'll just have to see where it goes now.
Yeah, I think the big thing to watch out for here that's really keeping PQ in this game and healthy in it is Papa Cooks. He is double Vaduen CS already, and he is going to continue to be a menace up here. This Wukong will get pushed in, and Asian Pro, he has been focusing all of his attention on the bot sides of the map. Papayalea now going forward onto Yuham, just going to force the flash. Wow, big respect here from the bot lane of PQ. Papa Cooks is pushing in, but this will net the first Hextech Drake over to the PHOriends.
Hextech Drake will be going over to them, so that means they get a little bit extra attack speed, a little bit more ability haste. And next Drake will be the Infernal, so we won't be seeing those rifts, unfortunately, but we still have Ocean, Cloud, and Mountain on the table, so a lot of options to pick. And it's no longer the 50-50 that I did for that one season. Now it's a 33%, which
yeah, that's a lot harder to like flip there. I will say I hope that it's either an Ocean or a Mountain Rift. I think that Cloud Rift is just kind of underwhelming nowadays, not as great. But now Daddy Sugar, he has ulted, and Yuham is just burning. That's so much damage, and Asian Pro gets one, Daddy Sugar gets the other. A great jump on them by PHOriends.
Yeah, the friends are using the power of their friendship in order to do quite a bit there. I mean, honestly, even though Asian Pro just threw out the collateral shell in order to pick up those last 2 kills, or finishing off one of them, while Daddy Sugar was able to finish off the other thanks to this AoE sort of lightning damage that they have. You gotta be careful there. I mean, Daddy Sugar hitting that level 6 point. Yuham, I know you're not used to being a little bit a higher level, but you being only level 5, not level 6, is a little bit detrimental for it in terms of how much EXP you're getting, and a little telling as well about where you stand in at the moment against this lane opponent who 2 kills, a bunch of CS over you. It's not looking great.
Yeah, and I'll even say on top of that, like, yes, that was a really good bait by Asian Pro, you know, standing there in the back, Daddy Sugar moving forward in pretty much the perfect way to, like, you know, get Yuham raring to go, and just going way too early on it. However, I don't think Asian Pro even needed to be there. If you saw how much damage that Daddy Sugar did after he lightning crashed on top of Yuham, that was just so much shred damage that I was convinced that they could have just double killed them without really taking anything or even needing that Graves. So we can see how far ahead Zeri is in this lane, and they've both now got their ults back again. Yuham still is level 5, so they may want to like try something here if they think that it can go well for them before Yuham. Or no, he just got the subjugate, so.
Yeah.
Bad news bears.
Bad news bears. But I will like to note, it's a little interesting. Zeri's actually... Oh, never mind.
Oh, there we go. Hodge has it, and that's the flash coming up. There we go. Hodge taking a lot of damage as he has to flash away. It's a trade. 2 summoners, 2 ults, and Daddy Sugar gets out alive. No shutdowns coming through right now.
Yeah, no shutdowns will be giving through. But once again, okay, so back to the point I was trying to make. Zeri is a little, I feel like it's actually a little bit of a counter for, or in a sense of countering the Black Mist ability. It's a little bit of, like her E, a little bit of a counter. Range-wise, not a counter. But you're pretty mobile too, so give and take. I feel like Zeri's actually a decent matchup into the Senna, considering that you auto attack is a skill shot. So you can still hit them even if they're shrouded in that Black Mist.
Yeah, and so far, obviously, it's going quite well. Not just that Black Mist counter, but also just generally the amount of damage that you can put out in a short amount of time is much higher than with Senna, and you're mobile enough that, as you said, that E really helps you get back and forth if you need to dodge the Piercing Darkness that just has that long wind-up time. Certainly something that is doable, achievable, and we've seen Daddy Sugar be able to do it. And the top lane continues to go about as well as you'd expect for this Wukong. Forced to use the Cyclone. Getting some chip damage back, and Asian Pro is coming up to the top lane, giving the Kong some love. But we'll have to see if Papa Cooks hangs out. He does have that Rift Herald, and I think he needs to use it before he goes back. So he may just kind of greed a little bit going for this. There we go. The ultimate coming out. Unstoppable. Asian Pro getting some damage off, forcing the flash. And the collateral damage will be burned.
Yep, good force, good force. But now, because of that, he is going to have to recall. Papa Cooks is in a unfortunate position for himself because he has no TP either. So that means he's just going to have to drop the Rift Herald in base. He should know there is a lot of effects, so he doesn't just miss out on the value of it. But here comes the bot lane.
Yeah, lots of pings coming through, and Daddy Sugar is shut down before anything else can happen. Here we go. Vidwen is here. He doesn't have the ultimate. Hodge going very low. Papayalea is here. He's hunting. He's looking for kills, but he can't find anything. He has to snap back, but he's caught. He's caught by the shockwave. There goes Papayalea running off on a one direction, but there we go. PQ Fox finds himself a kill, and it looks like Asian Pro has just said, it's doomed. Let's just try and get the dragon, get the hell out of here. Vidwen uses the clone. They are going to lose 2, but they get the second Drake.
Yeah, and they are in a pretty good position right now. Able to take that second Drake, has a little bit of gold lead. It does get mitigated by this Herald top lane, but overall, a pretty good play. And looks like Asian Pro is in a pretty bad scenario.
Yeah, Asian Pro, you're going in the wrong place. He's not in the... Yeah, he's in the middle of 4. Damn, man, you went hard for that.
Yeah, he really looked for a way in order to get out of there, but unfortunately there's just too much vision in that bot jungle for you to really find your way to finagle and sneak your way through.
Now we'll have to see if Papa Cooks will go down here. Vidwen getting a lot of damage off. There we go. Daddy Sugar finds himself his 3rd kill of the game. And the gold has actually swung a little bit in favor of PQ once again. They were playing on the back foot for a while, but here they are at just under a 1k gold lead.
Yeah, that first tower gold with full plating, I don't know if actually it was full plating. I just noticed it was a full tower gone. And at the baseline, probably got 3 plates off of that. Still pretty good in order to get an advantage for yourselves. Plates probably did go down before the tower was finished. So I'm going to say 3 plates plus a tower is what happened, because it just gets too much resistances when you're just trying to make a single push. But
it was 3 plates and then the full tower after that. However, you do got to consider that the strong member here for the side of PQ is actually just this Volibear. It's, you know, Senna has 2 kills to her name, but she still doesn't have that full first item. She doesn't have that mythic. Meanwhile, Zeri is working on that, finished on that, working on the boots. And Asian Pro hanging out in the wings as Papa Cooks has rotated down to the bot side. We'll have to see if Daddy Sugar and the rest of the PHOriends are going to be able to get this bot tower, get themselves on the map for this one. It looks like they will. They're moving forward. Papa Cooks is slowed, and now the ultimate coming through, the unstoppable as well, but he's rooted, he's running, he's nearsighted, and they might be taking this bear to the stuffing. Daddy Sugar with his 4th kill.
yeah, and now we're getting to a point where Zeri just kind of gets a little nuts. I mean, any ADC at 4 kills right now is pretty nuts, especially if you don't have a way that can easily assassinate an ADC. I think Hodge is probably the best shot they have for a bit, like big burst damage, and then comboing it with someone else alongside of that is probably what they need in order to burst an ADC, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an ADC. But right now, PHOriends not letting that happen. They're getting all of these objectives off the map and trying to just really keep a good lead for themselves. Seeing that now they have 2 towers, 2 Drakes, as opposed to PQ's 1 tower, but 2 Heralds.
There's 2 Heralds, but the 2 Heralds didn't really get a ton. They were able to get 3 plates off the first one, but as you keep saying, every time we get that second Herald, it's really not as valuable, and they don't have all of the pressure that they need in order to really turn this into an inner tower. So they'll have to PQ is going to have to wait on this one. They're going to have to sit down and hold and wait for the opportune moment. But will that opportune moment really come is the question, because in a minute 20 we have the Cloud Drake up. Unfortunately, it is a Cloud Rift. I'm kind of bummed. I think it's not a very fun Rift, but they may just drop it here and try and get a charge off. It's not going to net them any gold, but now, No, I mean, I keep thinking like, oh, they're gonna make something happen on the map, but no, Firelights has this map lit up like a Christmas tree. There's nothing that PQ can do to try and catch people off guard. Just look at how powerful the vision control is. 24 vision score on both Asian Pro and ZQM. And there we go. The Rift Herald is just dropped kind of in a desperation move. It's gonna head top. It might get a charge off on the inner turret, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Papa Cooks will be trying to push out this lane. Someone is going to be responding to it, so we do win. Also, Papa Yalea could potentially go into top lane as well in order to try to respond to that, but we'll have to see. And oh, a 1v1.
Yeah, Papialea gonna go pretty low. Anything, he's on the wrong guy though. Papialea, he has his cooldowns back. He's gotten some damage in, but Hodge is here. He's looking for it. He has the ultimate, and he will find himself his second kill of the game. But it looks like the Goon Squad's dropping down. Asian Pro is here. He's looking for PQ Hodge. They're just gonna let the jungler go. Anything is the target. Anything may try and get executed to the tower, but there are minions there. There's no way. Asian Pro gonna ghost just to ensure the kill. There we go. That is the mid laner down, and now here comes Vidwin. He's got Yuham. Yuham is so squishy. A double kill here for the Graves, and now Daddy Sugar is powered up. It's gonna be the third dragon putting themselves at soul point, unless Hodge has something to say about it. Here he comes. No steal, not this time. Hodge is getting chased down by Asian Pro. Now the root coming through, and Asian Pro taking Jarvan to the cleaners. Papialea on the run from Papa Cooks. But Dwayne beating him down, but this is a strong bear. He's gonna man drop in. Papialea one auto is gonna do it. Papa Cooks finds the kill, and now Vidwin in trouble as Zeri's trying to back, but it may be too little, maybe too late. A double kill for Dumpy here, and Daddy Sugars is gonna have to try and stop this inhibitor push.
Yeah, I think with the combination of Papialea and Volduin, they are able to push him off. He has no mana. Volibear just used a little bit too much there in those engages, so that means he will have to push back, and retreat for the moment at the very least. But this is still an immaculate push. We're seeing inner tower gone, inhibitor tower gone, and 2 kills given over to the name for Papa Cooks. We're going to see a pretty clear who has the damage resource on PQ's side. Gold leads are even, but I mean, how much of that is actually funneled into Papa Cooks right now?
Yeah, Papa Cooks is absolutely monstrous. He's got 3 towers worth of gold, 2 kills, and almost the highest CS on his team. He is very strong. And I think PQ needs to actually start playing around him, because we saw him 1v2 and get a double. His first 2 kills of the game, and he killed both men in their own base. Papa Cooks is monstrously strong, but PQ hasn't been playing around him. They've been letting him solo up in the top lane, and it kind of cost them in that last dragon fight. They've now handed over Soul Point Drake to the PHOriends, and even though the gold is even, PQ feels so weak when they don't have the big Papa.
Yeah, I mean, if Papa Cooks isn't it with them, they're essentially just 3k gold behind, a little bit more if you want to consider that, or if we take both top laners out of the equation, any lead that PQ had is pretty much gone now. It's 3k gold in favor for Papa Cooks, but if he's just side laning for the most part and only draws 1 person, he's not really getting too much of an advantage for his team. If he draws 2 people, hey, that is going to be equating just about your whole lead. But we'll have to see. Ooh,
Papialea, get back, and now Daddy Sugar has. Oh, gonna jump back.
okay.
He will have used the lightning crash, so that is a pretty significant cooldown here used for the PHOriends. We'll have to see if PQ tries to punish.
Yeah, we'll have to see. This is probably the best time to fight, since Papialea doesn't have ulti at the moment. He did have to use it in order to try to get out, and then Daddy Sugar also doesn't have the Thunder Crash or Lightning Crash in order to get that huge AoE damage that Zeri's known for. Interesting enough, we even see a nice variation for builds that Daddy Sugar is also making. Ooh, a good bait from Papialea. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the variation that you were talking about on Daddy Sugar is the presence of Papa Yalea, watch out, you get cataclysmed. But now the teleport coming in from Vidwen, and there goes Hodge already. A lot of damage coming through. Here goes Vidwen. He's going to try and get onto Fox. He cannot quite. He's going to get the knock-up onto Yuham, but now he has to use it to try and get away. Papa Yalea jumping into the middle, but he's going to get taken down by Fox. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Papa Cooks doing it again. He's just continuing to push. It's 3v3 here around the Baron. And it looks like Asian Pro and Daddy Sugar, the two very strong members of the PHOriends. They're going to have to try and make something happen. Asian Pro, so much damage onto him. He's going to get shut down. Yuham takes the kill. Daddy Sugar trying to kite, but can he kite when he's got a slow on him? Daddy Sugar not going to make anything happen. Anything finds the kill, and now PQ are back in the lead. All that gold that you were talking about, the 3K gold lead for the Volibear. Now PQ in the 4v4, they're even again, and Papa Cooks is just running it down bot.
Ooh. Ooh, and Papa Yalea doesn't get the kill. Can he get out? He doesn't have flash. Oh, and he goes down too. This might be...
Papa Yalea has not been able to get it done at all this game, and it is not looking good for the PHOriends anymore. 4,000 gold lead here for PQ. They're gonna get this Baron for free, and they are just looking so much better than they were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, they're looking amazing. While Overlooks for PHOriends, they're actually looking for the Dragon Soul. Very impactful. I mean, you'll love it because you're Zeri, because you know you hit that, you get a bunch of moves, so you'll love it. But I think the most important part is if PHOriends gets it, this means that puts Elder on the table. I don't know if PQ really wants to see an Elder on the table for either jungler to get. Oh, a flash engage.
The flash onto Daddy Sugar. He can't get over the wall. He's dead. Anything with the kill, and a huge move by Papa Cooks is gonna get this dragon for PQ.
And that will delay the Dragon Soul, but more importantly, the Elder Drake from spawning on Rift, because I think that might have been what PQ, or not PQ, but PHOriends is literally looking for. And now, oh no, Papa.
Yeah, Papa Yalea, he's just keeps getting killed. 1 in 6 here. Hodge will die. That is the saving grace here. But now you see the gold leads swinging into PQ's favor. Those objective bounties are on the table here for the PHOriends. They need to try and get something done. But now, I said that the win condition here, or the way to get back into this game for PQ, was to play around Papa Cooks. They did that. They're doing that now. It's working amazingly. And they were still able to win a 3v3 around Baron without their bot lane, or without their top laner. He was bot.
Yeah, it is going to be saying wonders for them, but oh no, Papa Cooks.
That's a lot of damage, but he may have bit off more than he could chew against the Graves.
Absolutely. And speaking of Graves, I saw this earlier when he was taking his Krugs. I think it's so interesting that, yeah, I don't know if it's actually the build, but it used to be a more shield build. Maybe maybe you just don't like the nerfing much, and especially now that you bought the Headstringer, you probably planned it out from the beginning. But grabbing the Gourd Drinker for healing, well, I just think it's thematically funny that you're just now, instead of you like whipping around a flail, I just imagine you just spinning around your gun, like just bunting people with it, and you get a heal.
Yeah, he went to go buy the Gore Drinker, and he was like, do you want the Gore Drinker? He goes, no, I just want the chain. He's got the gun on a chain, just whap, whap. But Asian Pro now at half health thanks to Hennything's ult combo. Hennything taking almost no damage in return. Asian Pro will have to back off, and we're seeing that this Graves is not as infallible as he once was in the early game.
Yeah, he is falling off a little bit, which is a little interesting. He is like, Graves is like weird sort of thing where he's a marksman, but he isn't actually an ADC. He can't really fit that role anymore. Ever since his changes, he's more so like a harder, which honestly fits his kit way better, what he used to be as well. So I like that. But because of that, he doesn't scale like an ADC either, especially now that he didn't opt in for the more shield build. He doesn't get the crit build, which would have been the sort of like ADC-like build that gets you over the hump of the late game.
And I think this is where we're finally seeing like the issues that we had with the Firelights comp. Like, it's not a traditional comp. You don't have a tank. Your mid laner is doing that. I mean, you're not. Your mid laner is not able to capitalize on the I need to blow up the carries that we were talking about, and now that's, yeah, and Daddy Sugar's dead as well. Look at how much damage the side of PQ has as they start tearing through the enemy team. Hodge on the run, but Papa Cooks is in here. He's jumped down, disabled the towers. Asian Pro on the run, he's gonna burn. Uham with the kill on a rampage thanks to the subjugate. This might even be the end of the game, folks. This might be the end of the series. Viduen can't get anything done. He's so underfarmed. He's so underfed, and he's got a Yumi to help him. I think this will be PQ taking the series, battling back from a bad early game, and making themselves a 4-0 team.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe this is why PQ currently is 4-0. You wouldn't exactly expect a team that's been on a semi-hiatus from GRLCS to make such a thrilling return. But now PQ is solidly 4-0 into the league. Congratulations for you guys. It was a well-fought victory. The game 2 was a little shaky. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that bot lane to start popping off here. But once we start going, hey, let's go with something a little weird. Let's give them some. Let's get something odd. Let's match their PHOriends weirdness with our own a little bit of weirdness. How we beat Zeri Yumi bot lane. Let's just go for an overwhelming mid game where we have just basically 3 fighters, a mage, and then Senna, who's going to be there for the late game assurance. So I say this is a well-deserved win, and congratulations, PQ, for making it so far undefeated in the GRLCS Season 17.
Yeah, big congratulations to PQ and PHOriends. No, I know that you're 0-3 now. I know that it feels bad, but that was a well-fought series. That was a very big battle back. You just need to finish it out next time. You had them on the ropes, but it is, if you can do this against the undefeated team, then I'd love to see what you can do next week.
Absolutely. But that is going to be our stream for tonight. I've been Let's Go Dragon, and he's been Vid. We've been your co-casters for tonight. Thank you all for sticking around, and we do see a lot of PQ love. The PQ fans are going wild in the chat, and we appreciate you all watching it for this week. Next week, it is going to be week 7, which means we will be having both sides playing, both Enforcers and the Firelights. I will have to look at which game is going to be streamed at the moment. But for now, I'm going to be signing off here. Thank you guys for watching and enjoying Season 17 of the GRLCS.